history today. And so, you know, brothers and sisters, I am so blessed. I have to start with this, brother. We're going to bring on everyone soon. But I am so blessed, brothers and sisters, to have on the platform tonight. I'm hoping that he's still on, because I know that the brother's got another meeting as well. Hence why I've announced Brother Michael Johnson. This brother is a bona fide brethren of mine. Absolutely bona fide brethren of mine. He's played football at the highest echelons of the international game, which we'll talk on with him in a second. He's played in the Premier League. From what I understand at the moment, he can let me know if this is anything straight. From what I know, he's been coaching the under-21s England football team. So remember, today's about, are we British enough? We seem to be at the heights of the system. And we've got our brother tonight on this platform. And he doesn't play. He does not play. Yeah. I think he's got a meeting after this, hence why I'm bringing him on first. I was blessed to be at his wedding. And, you know, he's a beautiful brother. And so, Brother Michael Johnson, Lord gosh, the time I call him out, oh, there he is.
I'm here.
I tell you, black people, we're hard, you know, we're hard on each other, man.
Well, how are you, Brother Andrew?
Brother Michael, how you doing, my king?
I'm excellent, my friend. I'm blessed, highly blessed. And yourself?
Brother, after seeing your beautiful, shiny face, I'm happy, my king. I'm happy, my king. And we know that it's not just tonight you're on this platform. Yourself, your wife, and your children have been regulars on this platform since day one. I think the very first show I ever done on Zoom, you was there. You were there, brother. Amongst the 30 odd people that turned up that day. Michael, you know what? It's a serious day, brother. Please, before we go into any points, because I know we've got some fantastic people in the background waiting as well. But I wanted to bring you on first, King. Just tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Just give us a bit of a resume, and don't be bashful, brother. Please, this is not a time to be shy and bashful and humble. Let us know. Let them know the kind of history that you've got. The kind of what's on your CV.
Okay, so first of all, Brother Andrew, absolute privilege to be on it this evening and sharing some insights. Still there?
Yes, we're here, brother. Oh, don't tell me his signal's gone.
So,
King, I think your signal is gone. I had that problem last week on my computer, but can you hear us, King? Troy, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, or is it my end or your end?
I'm going to quickly check. Sister Eartha, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started to hear Michael, but then he cut out.
Okay, I thought it was my computer. Let's go again.
Yeah, so my history is that I started in Notts County in 1991. I then moved for a significant amount of money in 1995 to Birmingham City, where I played in the Premier League and then got the opportunity to play for Jamaica. I then in 2003 moved to Derby County, and whilst at Birmingham City and Derby County, I was club captain, and we were privileged to get promoted, which was a real historic moment for myself, to the Premier League. And then it all went full circle in 2009. I left Derby County and went right back to the first club where I first started in 2010. So you're talking probably a 20-year professional playing career. And since retiring, I've taken up coaching positions at Cardiff City. I was the head coach at Notts County on a temporary basis. I've been a national head coach for Guyana. So I was the head coach for Guyana, and we had a considerable success in 2019 when the country qualified for their very first Gold Cup. So that was an amazing achievement, which for me is out there. And then on the back of that, I was offered the opportunity to come in to England, where I'm currently still placed as the under-21s coach.
Fantastic. Brothers and sisters, please make some noise for our brother, our king, Brother Michael Johnson. Brother Michael, listen, bro, you've been on the front line. I remember yourself and Brother Troy from day one, and you've both been on the show already. Michael, please, you've been on the front line of justice and equality in the sporting world, especially in the football world, brother. You've been, I see your tweets on a daily basis. I've seen you on TV. I've seen you on Sky. I've seen you on all over. Brother Michael, what have you got to say to us, brother, in regards to what has been taking place over the last 2 weeks, especially during the Euros? But I know it's been before that time. But, how have you been taking it, brother? With all the work that you've been doing and how many conferences you've attended and whatever, what for someone who's in it and that's on the front line, who's an England part of the England team, what would you like to say to us, King?
There's one word that just springs to mind when I think about the whole situation, and it's entrenched.
Wow, talk to us.
It's deep. When we saw, and we all knew what was coming. Nobody didn't know that when Saka steps up for that final penalty, if he misses it, we all thought the same thing. So not only was the expectation of England on his shoulders, the expectation of all Black people who live in the UK worldwide were on his shoulders. We all knew he was going to get it. And what quite quickly became apparent was the success factor, that if you're Frank Bruno, if you're Lewis Hamilton and you're winning every week, if you're Anthony Joshua and you're knocking everybody down, if you're, I don't know, you could think of as Ian Wright and you're scoring all these goals and everything's nice, that it's accepted. But the minute you lose, the minute you don't knock that person out, the minute that you miss that penalty, it's quite apparent that they distance themselves from you and you are known as what we've come to find out in the last few weeks. That is something that I couldn't repeat on this platform. So for me, the word entrenched is because it's deeper than what we see at the face value. This is going right across leadership, going into many different sectors and into society.
Now, Michael, I'm going to ask you a question, okay? And it's the same question I'm going to ask Sister Eartha, to be honest with you. And it's going to be the same answer I'm going to ask Sister Brother Troy later on. What would you say to the brothers and sisters in the community, the Black community I'm talking about now, and the Asian community? What would you say if they say to you, brother, with all the work that you're doing, you are literally wasting your time. Nothing will change. You're hitting your head against a brick wall. Nothing's going to change. What would you say to that, brother? With all the work that you've been doing?
I agree.
Wow.
I think I've come to a place now.
Wow.
You have to understand the historical and I know you do, Brother Andrew. And
yes, I know, brother.
Does. So I speak to many that have gone before me, who have had 50, 60, 40, Troy, 30, 20 odd years at this. And still, we're in a place where just to be accepted, you have to be successful. And so if so many persons that have gone before me have tried to knock down these thought processes,
yes,
I scratch my head and think, okay. And let's be honest, this is not only going back the lifespan of somebody, this is going back centuries.
Yes, yes.
But are we really going to change the dial on things? And that's where I'm currently sat.
Wow, brother.
Is it about?
That is deep. Sorry, but no, carry on, brother. I'm just saying that is deep.
That's where I've come to. Is it about operating within the system that we're currently operating in and navigating our best to live life? Is it about focusing on the demographics of a more youthful society that are probably a little bit more diverse than the elderly ones? I went to the Black Lives movement and some of the marches. And what was really interesting to see was the demographics of those that were marching. And it was quite a mixed reflection of society. So my thought process then goes, well, maybe some of the youth are actually standing up because they too have diversity in their homes, diversity in their best friends, diverse relationships. And is this the passing of the baton where the older generation are holding on to it and the younger generation are trying to move and say, listen, this is not the way we operate in England?
Wow. Now, brother, believe it or not, and I'm not surprised, I'm looking at the chat line, brother, and people are absolutely applauding you. They're applauding you. They're saying, wow, you know, they can't believe that you've actually come out of it so plain. Sister Victoria says the racism here in the UK is more subtle and more refined. It's the worst kind. Kimani, sorry. Yes, Victoria. Damn, they just keep moving the goalposts. Dolores says absolutely, and many, you know, it's just going on. But Michael, if you was on Sky Sports though, for example, and you gave that as your answer, they will say, Michael, how dare you say that? Because you're meant to be the symbol of hope. You're the under-21s England coach, and you're a member of the England team. You've been at the top of society. Football's blessed you. How dare you say that? You know, you got to that stage. You're banging your head against a big wall, and you don't believe it's going to change. When you're meant to be the symbol of hope.
Well, after my career, I embarked on so many qualifications. You know, on the back of a diploma, on the back of 2 master's degrees.
Wow.
On the back of every qualification you need in football. I struggled for the part of 10 years to become what I wanted to be, which was a manager. I had to go to Guyana, which was a blessing in itself, to really be given the opportunity to manage. So I'm aware of the difficulties that it is that you need to navigate to get to where you want to be. And it's taken me a long time. With others, they've never got there. With others, it's taken twice as long. With others, it's been the heartache. You know, I'm privileged to be in an environment where I'm mentored by some of the most well-named Black footballers. And when I hear their stories,
yeah,
you understand that the struggles that we face get into positions where
there's literally only one word that comes to mind when I see it.
Sorry, brother. Sorry. Carry on.
I heard him say there's literally only one word.
Yeah. I'm gonna play that in a second after you finish. Carry on, bro.
But yeah, I just think that the struggles that we face in those positions of leadership, and until we operate in a leadership level, we're going to continue to have these discussions. We have to be accelerating into the leadership of education, of health, of sports, of politics. That's where the change really needs to happen. But there always seems to be some kind of ceiling that prevents you, or goalposts that are being moved that prevent you from getting into those leadership positions where you can start to make some real change.
All right, Michael, I'm going to play something, and I would like to hear are you in agreement with this, disagreement? Let us know, brother Michael.
And Andrew, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, Rodney.
Okay, lovely.
All right. Sorry, Michael. Here we go.
Literally only one word that comes to mind when I see the racism occurring in this country right now. Dumb. Not dumb as in silly, like as in actual unintelligence and the immaturity. As soon as we saw what happened yesterday, we knew racism would follow, and so many of you literally just walked into the reality of our expectations like we knew you would. Think about how hypocritical it is to disrespect a player based on his skin color when they have been the cause of your celebrations for weeks. Think Think about how childish it is to say the most hurtful thing you can think of to someone because you're upset. It's a literal playground level of immaturity. It's emotionally unintelligent to love a sporting game so much you spew hate that affects an entire section of society. I wanted it to come home, but I forgot where I call home. We aren't united. It's not unity to love me while things are going good and then turn around and insult my very existence when things are going bad. This is the country where football and dogs will probably always be more loved than us. Shout out to all of the upstanding white people that would never say such vile things. But I'm sorry, you do not make up for the amount of times we have to be reminded how much we are seen as a subspecies by so many. We are cattle on their pitches running around because we are of use. That's it. It's funny to me because we are always painted as barbaric animals, and yet no matter how much hatred and venom verbally, institutionally and physically some white people push towards us, you never see us wholesale spewing venomous racism and racist terminology towards them. I would argue we have way more of a logical reason to be racist, and we still don't do it, but we are the violent animals. Listen, I choose to look at this as a positive. It's good to know when you're in a jungle because then you're aware of how possible it is to get bit. And this country is a jungle right now. Peace.
Michael, please. What have you got to say on that, bro?
Yeah, it's powerful piece. I understand so much of this, and I think the powers that be need to understand England and what I mean by that. I think there's a discussion about what does England mean. So when I look at even the picture, I see the three lions. The three lions. When I look at the Saka, when I look at Sancho, when I look at Raheem, the nationality, where that's come from. When we look at the historical behavior of English in some of those countries, there needs to be a real education about what does England actually mean and stand for.
Wow.
I'm afraid that some of the fans, I don't think they have the capacity to understand that behavior is completely wrong. And the fact that Saka is stood here representing England and you abuse a player who's going to score, that team there was literally applauded right up to the whistle. And because 2 centimeters this way, 2 centimeters this way is what causes you then to promote all this racism and foul language. It's ignorant, it's foolishness, it's stupidness, it's people that don't have a clue in my mindset. But that's what we're dealing with.
But Brother Michael, just before I open it up now to bring in Troy, Sister Earth, and what have you, okay? What would you say then, Michael, if someone says to you, well, Michael, yeah, you know, what you're saying, you're spot on, brother. You're on it. But Michael, you're working for England, the same England that is producing this racist mentality and a system that is oppressing us. They talk about taking the knee and Black Lives Matter, but as soon as anything goes wrong, they're on us like dogs. Why can't we take our black players away, our black coaches away like yourself and produce a super team? Why not? Because I've seen 1 or 2 people put that down already on the platform with great people like you, great people like Eartha, great people like Troy Townsend, whatever, okay? We've got enough in our own community to do for ourselves. Power respects power. And if we're doing it under their system, we will never be respected. What would you say to that, King?
I wouldn't disagree with that. I wouldn't wipe that out. I think we're getting to a place where, as we've always said, and I think this has really brought it to a head on the world stage for everybody to be seeing that there comes a point in time where, as you just said, you know, what else is there to do? You know, everybody knows what's been going on. Everybody knows that this is foolishness, but yet all we get is, you know, endless commissions, endless reports, endless, oh, we'll have a look into it, investigation. There comes a time when we need something to shock the system.
Mm.
I think if that's what it takes to shock the system, then the system needs to be shocked.
Whoa, Michael, now I know that what you're saying is not just words, because some people think, oh yeah, you're talking like this. But Michael, please, on the last time you was on the show, which was months ago, you mentioned some underground talks that were taking place, that you lot was already setting up some kind of black footballers network or something. Please, can you share with us any updates on that? Because I know you're not just talking, brother.
No, the door's open now. The doors are severely coming off in terms of appetite, in terms of people on that membership group. So for those that didn't know, we have a group that has probably been in situ for about a year, full of coaches and managers and players, which are now accelerating because we have to control the narrative. I remember Troy did a presentation around controlling the narrative. The time for us to control the narrative is now. The time for us to really start to make movements in this space is now. The time for us to really empower not just black footballers, but a community, but using the power of football to do that is now.
That's deep, brother. That is absolutely powerful. So, brother and sisters, you could hear the brother say himself, this is not just a talking workshop. They are making movements already. And I know, as a fact, the brother did invite me to address.
Yeah, man. Andrew, you got to come on, man, and address you have to come on and educate them on there, man.
Yeah, don't worry, brother. That's going to happen. The day that you invited me, I couldn't make on that time. I was double booked. But what I'm trying to show the brothers and sisters, don't think we're just talking tonight on this platform. The brothers and sisters on this platform, they are making movements. Yeah, they're making movements, and I think it's a new day. You know, I think it's absolutely a new day, brothers and sisters. Yes, brother Michael.
I'm good, Andrew. Before I go, I mean, there's two people I know on here that have been making considerable movements. You know, there's a gentleman by the name of Troy I've got the utmost respect for, who's been working in a difficult space over the last year. He's put his neck out on the chopping block several times.
Non-stop.
No, literally chopping.
Literally.
Yeah, because you speak up. The minute that you speak up, sometimes you become an enemy to the system. But you have to stand. You have to stand for something. I'd rather stand for something than stand for nothing at all. So utmost respect to Troy. And then we've also got a lady that I've been very privileged to get closer to over the last year. Who, for me, listen, this is a powerful young black woman who shows leadership, who shows a real passion for a community, that once you get an insight on the platform tonight, I'm sure that everybody's going to be trying to connect with Eartha. She's an absolute diamond in this space.
Brothers and sisters, you've heard it from the man himself, Brother Michael Johnson. You've heard it from the man himself. He was talking about this particular queen. This is the queen. This is the queen, brothers. Let me tell you something about Eartha Pond. Brothers, we have got some fantastic people in our community. You understand what I'm saying? You've just heard from Michael Johnson, yeah? We've got some fantastic people in our... Let's talk about Sister Eartha Pond, yeah? Brothers and sisters, this particular queen, she signed for Arsenal ladies, now women, at the tender age of 12. That's how great she was. From the age of 12, she's already signed up. She's gone on to achieve accolades such as winning the FA Cup. You see, understand? Premier League. Woo! League Cup, national championships. Okay? She played abroad as professional in the USA. Did you want to come in on that, Michael?
Hey, just continue, man. I can't.
This played not just for Arsenal. She played for Tottenham. She's played for Chelsea. But, you know, brothers, says like Muhammad Ali, she's bigger than sport. Yes. Yeah, alongside Eartha's sporting success, she has excelled into senior leadership positions within education in schools across London. I've actually worked in a school that she was a part of the senior leadership team, where she began receiving great honors, including UK Sports Teacher of... No, I'm going to say that again, brothers and sisters. The sister you're about to hear from was UK Sports Teacher of the Year, School of the Year, and most recently named Global Teacher Prize finalist, with over 34,000 lick shot pon Babylon with rice and peas and a buffalo soldier. This what I'm saying, brothers and sisters. She reached the finalists with over 173 countries involved in that. She's already demonstrated a commitment to sport and a commitment to education, but it doesn't stop there. Oh my goody gumdrops. It doesn't stop. Eartha still has time to time to play her role in her community. She's an elected councillor within Westminster. I say that again, brothers and sisters. An elected councillor in Westminster. She holds a unique position as part of the only parish council in London located in Queen's Park, whereas vice chair. So now she's into politics now. She advocates and drives support for vulnerable groups. I personally seen her on TV. I'm talking up for Grenfell, which we'll touch on as well. She's now launching the ESP Foundation. She created a pathway to improve life opportunities for young people from underestimated backgrounds. Come on, brothers and sisters. This is just a snapshot of what this sister is doing and what she's achieving. So she's the heights of the spokesperson. I believe she played internationally. I think it was St. Lucia.
No. She played internationally, man.
Oh, wow.
Come on, man.
Brothers and sisters, please, look, come on. What more can I say, brothers and sisters? What more can I say? If you're feeling the Queen, put some damn ones in that chat room. Put some damn ones. Whilst Troy is smiling with 52 teeth shining, you put those ones in the platform, because this is the sister that we're talking about today. Sister Eartha.
Yo, I lost one of my teeth this morning, so I only got 51 now, yeah?
Yes, Troy. Sister Councillor Eartha, how are you doing, my queen?
Good evening, all. Thank you for having me. I'm blessed. I'm great to be here amongst so many kings and queens, and to be able to share this platform and my experiences.
Wow. Sister, you were spotted from the age of 12. What was that like?
I guess expected. I think maybe for others it was a shock, but everything that I do with passion and I work hard. So I have the aspirations to achieve that. So it wasn't a surprise for me, but it was great to be on that platform and to be able to demonstrate the hard work that I've been putting in, and yeah, rough up a few girls for sure.
Brilliant. And you played, I mean, unlike any other person, I don't know who can still play for Tottenham, Arsenal, and Chelsea and not be hated. Because normally if you move from one of those teams to another team, you are public enemy one with those supporters. How does that feel like, Queen?
Do you know what it is? But for me, it's all about football. I have no allegiances. I love playing. I can't deal with nonsenses. If I'm good enough, and I know I'm good enough, I just want to be on the pitch. So if that means having to move to another club in order to do it, then great. I'll compete either with the best or against the best. And yeah, that's all that drives me.
Fantastic. Just before we carry on, sister, great news tonight, brothers and sisters. I've just seen in the chat room, we have hit the target of £800 to, brothers, come on, man. Come on, brothers, give yourselves a round of applause. But if you still want to donate, keep donating. But that's what I'm saying, man. The days of us just talking and feeling good and going back from watching television, those days are over and done with, man. So, sister Angie Rose, we've hit your target of £800. I've not put my money in yet, and I pledged that I will put my money in, sister. So if you still want to donate, this is what Black Love is all about. Sorry, Sister Councillor. I just wanted to give that as a news flash. Fantastic. So, Sister Eartha, you've played in the highest echelons. You're involved in education. You're involved in politics. Please, sister, just like Michael Johnson, what are your feelings over the last 2 weeks? I know it's been longer than 2 weeks, but we're focused on the last 2 weeks since the Euros and all the things that have kicked up. What's been your views, and how's it shaped your work and your mind?
Again, I just have to echo in what Jono said about the expectation. For me, it was nothing new. For me, it's something that's consistent. And I think as long as the country is run on racism and nepotism, we are not going to move anywhere. And for me, it's really just about that ability to separate England as a team and England as a country. And I think what the media and the Euros being hosted here was able to do is to kind of give society of false pretense that we've made some significant breakthroughs in regards to where we are with football. And football is as I said, apart from dogs, it is the most passionate thing that brings people together. And I think the work that's being done in the background with Jono and the FBC guys it's important. We need our own stuff. That's the bottom line. Well, if we keep chasing what the master's trying to hand down, we're just going to be going around in circles. And I know there was also a lot of talk about walking off the pitch and what impact that might have in supporters. For me, why are we even going on it? What impact will that have is actually even when the new Premier League season starts, if they don't walk on, that's going to have a bigger impact than them actually walking off.
Wow. Wow. Hold on, sister. Sister, hold on. Say that again.
Yeah, for me, it's not about if we're walking off, it's actually if we're walking on.
Woo!
We are I think the third of what it is that the Premier League have, and we are the ones who are the highest paid entertainers. So if they're not getting that entertainment and they're not accessing us as they have been, then maybe they'll start taking some sort of accountability. And I know they've had things such as the code and people taking the knee. For me, taking the knee is a little bit of a distraction, in my opinion. There's things in place such as the race code, and if all teams are not signing up to that, why are you taking the knee? Where's the education piece around it? And not just education, it comes from education and then the action. So you've taken the knee, and then what happens next? And I had this conversation with actually one of the most capped player in England. And she said that every Sunday we take the knee. And then after Sunday, nothing happens until next week Sunday. So yes, the teammates and everyone wants to support what's going on, but between Monday and Saturday, nothing else is done. So for me, it's all about the accountability piece, and it's all about actually taking actions and tangible actions. And that's why for me personally, it's all about being around those leadership tables where you're able to impact. There's a paper trail of decision-making, and you call people out. Where's your receipts? And it's not necessarily about, is the change going to happen, but actually you can keep calling for it to happen. You can keep making them accountable for it, and see where that gets us.
Sister, I mean, you know what? I don't think we appreciate people like yourself, Jono, Michael Johnson, Troy Townsend. I haven't brought in our brother Rodney Richards yet, but I think you are literally a new school. You lot are a new school, because I have never, just like you dropping about walking on, much less walking off. I've never heard that before. And that will be such imagine 1 week, 1 day, not even a week, 1 day where we say we refuse to be your entertainers. We're not even going to walk onto the pitch. Do you know that is going to cause seismic shocks all over the world? And I've noticed, brothers and sisters, that when it came, I know, there's some of the stuff I'm waiting for Troy Townsend to come on with, but I noticed that once their financial pot was being messed around, when it was going to start the Super League, brothers and sisters, I have never seen a response ever in all of my life where Sky came together, Premier League came together, the UEFA came together, FIFA came together, Prime Minister's office came. They came, and within days, they stamped that bad boy out. You know what I'm saying? It shows that when there was a willpower, it was done. So what have you got to say about that, sister?
Yeah, and again, it's where is the impact? And as you said, that the finances for them is what's going to have that impact. And I know you mentioned about us being the next generation, but the young generation coming behind us, if they think we are bad, they are not taking any chat at all. So yeah, as you said, they're a lot more united. And again, it's about that education piece. And again, they're the ones who are going into their homes and challenging the racism. They're the ones who are speaking up against things such as nepotism. They're the ones who are going to be the ones who shine the light on the indifferences in our community. So as you said, it's really important that we are educated, but a lot of time people think education is just in school. And we saw that with the pandemic, how everything sort of started to collapse. Education is the home. the community, the school, all of these things educate individuals as a whole. So for me, it's really about how do we ensure that we're making progress? How do we ensure that people are being held accountable? But as you said, it's all about the action. We've seen what's happened with even the fundraising this evening. That's a clear example of when we collaborate together and unite, this is how we're going to get change. But when we start having gaps, you see a lot of people who maybe look like us and are in leadership positions, and when things start going wrong, they start calling out. But they're the same people who, when they got in, shut the door behind them. And all of a sudden, they're getting roughed up inside the door, and now they're seeking help. The door's locked. So unless you're down the baton and holding down that ladder and smashing those ceilings to make sure that we can all come through, that someone climbs on you to keep going further and further, that's the only way we're going to keep making progress. It can't be one or two of us. It's got to be us collectively in order for our common goal to move forward.
Eartha, this is the first time I've really met you properly. I know, you know, you worked at you was in a senior leadership position in a school that I was doing some work in, but it's the first time me and you've had this type of conversation. Sister, I had no idea. You are so on it, sister. And, you know, with your history in sports, you know, how does it compare to being in the political world as a councillor? Because I think, sister, and I'm not joking, you're the kind of politician, because I'm not really into politics, to be honest with you. Yeah? But you're the kind of politician, sister, I know that we could support. The way you speak is you don't mince your words, sister. You're very direct in the way you speak. You're very articulate. We need people like you, not just in football, but we need you in people like, I mean, what would you say to people like me, to the grassroots that say, sister, we need you in a bigger world where you can talk for us and our people? What would you say to that?
To be honest, it's all comes back down to, it's a numbers game. And I'll be quite honest, even from a governance level, it's all a numbers game. So for me, I don't really focus on what we can't do. For me, it's about solution finding. If that doesn't mean on a political sphere, what can we do? That's where I want to put my time and energy. So whether that's the next generation, whether that's collaborating, whether that's working with different networks, that's where I want to focus my time. Because me going into the bigger tub of oil, yes, I might be able to have a voice, but actually when it comes down to the vote and when it comes down to having impact, it comes against us. So what actually can we do that's going to make a tangible change where we can make a difference on a granular level is definitely where I'd prefer to spend my time, ensure that we get things done.
Wow. Sis, before I bring in Troy Townsend, remember, Jarita, anytime you want to come in, Jarita, because I can see so much in there, man, with the comments. It's just been going crazy. But just before that, sister, I want to play you a young man that every time anything happens in the football world, they always bring this brother on. Some of the points I agree with, some of the points I disagree with. But I want your take on this particular segment of what this brother's been interviewed on.
Should. The question is, what do we do about it? Joining me now, John Barnes, former England footballer. John, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I find it absolutely staggering that here we are in this day and age. We've been talking about racism in football for as long as I can remember, and yet we still haven't tackled it. It's an abomination, isn't it? What can we do?
We can get rid of it in society first. You cannot get rid of racism in football as long as it exists in society, because football is a part of society. So unfortunately, we do it in the wrong way around. We're looking to throw before these racist football fans, as people like to call them, who are they? Are they doctors, lawyers, milkmen, postmen? Why don't we look at those institutions and say, you have racist members in your institutions? Why is it football? This is the problem we have. We throw it at football's door rather than looking at society as a whole, and that's what we have to do. Because the Euros comes around every 2 years, the World Cup, the football matches once a week. What is happening in society every single day? Through jobs, employment, education, that we're not tackling. We're just blaming football.
And so I suppose from your standpoint, what you're saying is, look, it's manifested in, of course it's going to happen. If we haven't stamped it out of society, then of course it's going to happen. Okay, so how do
What about the police? Now we're talking about it in the police. And there are no black managers of
Sorry about
big institutions. So is it just football? Do we not look around and see the world that we live in? But we absolve ourselves of responsibility and tackling the real problem by looking at it from a footballing perspective and say, oh, let's just tackle it in football and all will be well.
But then on the other hand, I mean, we've also got a situation where if you start through positive discrimination, of trying to put people in positions of power rather than perhaps even going right back into, you've got to go back into education, you've got to go back into society, you've got to go back into all sorts of social problems. It's such a complex area. Where would you start? I mean, would you start by positive discrimination, saying, right, we've got to have people who are role models? Or
well, first of all, you can't pass laws. Positive discrimination has been around for a long time. You can't pass laws to make people not racist. Laws have been around to stop people stealing for thousands of years, but they still do it. You have to change the perception that we all have about black people, about women, about gay people. You cannot look, laws can't change the thing because there are always ways around those laws. And it starts by looking at ourselves. So rather than pointing the finger at the ones who get caught, if me and you are watching a football match and a female and a male line referee comes out, who do we think is the best before we know their ability? You won't say the male because you're going to get cancelled or sacked. But I'm quite comfortable in saying that because of what life has wrongly shown me about women's ability to referee a football match. So don't blame me. Blame the environment I brought up to make me think that way. So unfortunately, people get caught, and people who think the exact same thing. You think the football fan who says, oh, that line woman is rubbish, is the only one. He's the only one who's got caught. And this is why I have to challenge the unconscious bias, which apparently doesn't exist, or the implicit bias that goes on, not the overt.
So, yes, sister, what is your views on that?
Yeah, I think I agree with quite a few of the points. It is that that paradigm piece in regards to where has that person been grown up, what has the home been like, what has their environment been like, and again that then impacts the way that they think or feel. So it has to be a whole reset, but it has to be done from the top. As I said, the fish rots from the head. So unless it's coming from a leadership point of view and filtering down, it's all good us at the bottom playing cat and mouse and tit for tat, but actually it has to be a broader statement. It is a societal problem that needs to be addressed, and it is across all different sectors. And until we can take that accountability, we saw with the recent Cyril sewage report, whatever that was just recently written, there's so many points that bring us backwards from the tiny steps we've even started to make forward. So again, it's bigger than just football, but it really needs people to, some people say it's not there because they don't understand it, because they haven't experienced it and they haven't even taken it on board as something that's a problem. So if there's not a problem, actually, there's nothing to really fix. So if we relate it to football and the FA, which looks quite old, male and white, actually that's what their environment has always been. So they don't understand it, they don't see it, what racism is it, because they're not in it. But whereas the newer generation who are around a more diverse set of players, whether that's at a club level or at a board level, they're able to recognize those differences. But they're not in those, as I said, leadership positions. They haven't got laws. They can't make those big fundamental changes that need to take place. So again, we can show them and say it as much as we want. We look at even the stuff that Marcus Rashford said. The government took a U-turn once he went on TV, but a couple of days before that, he'd written exactly the same thing on a piece of paper and sent it in. So why did they need to see him in that emotional state and actually physically pleading and almost begging for these changes to take place? And then obviously the backlash from obviously the members of the public, but he'd written exactly the same thing on a piece of paper. But unless it was shown and there's accountability, that's when they're like, oh, actually it's going to impact our finances, our votes, things that are going to impact our own generational wealth that's been going on for decades, and anything that's messing with that, then we need to maybe make a few amendments and give them a little bit of leeway. So yeah, it's going to take time.
Yes. Sister, thank you so much. Just one more question before I bring on Troy Townsend. Just one more question, because as I was saying, you represent the political world with us tonight on this platform. I wish I had time to read out some of those comments. I mean, sister, you have got people on fire right now. Absolutely fire. But I've got a political question to ask you as well, sister. Sister, who is this woman here?
The devil.
Oh God, what is a new day? Brothers and sisters, I said to you tonight, it's gonna be sticky, wicky, icky. Listen to the sister, man. Sister, I'm backing you. Brothers and sisters, Pretty Patel, the so-called Home Secretary, okay, who's had racism in her life and all this stuff that they push down our throat. Remember, this is our own platform tonight. We got 400 of you on this platform tonight. You're going to hear from our own narrative because they ain't going to talk about this on Sky News. We're going to discuss our own issues. But brothers and sisters, as you know, when at the beginning of the Euros, when our footballers, and I'm talking about our footballers in terms of black players and the white players, they decided to take the knee, whether you agree with the knee or not. And we're going to go on to the taking of the knee in a second, whether you agree with it or not. From their standpoint, they wanted to highlight the racist attitude of this country and of the of many of the so-called supporters and the infrastructure. They were booed. Can you imagine that, brothers and sisters? They were booed. Yeah. Then you got the Home Secretary and the Prime Minister given an opportunity, an open air opportunity to condemn the booing and stand up against this racist attitude. They backed the booers. They basically said, well, they paid their money. If they want to boo, let them boo. But brothers, what they didn't tell us was behind the scenes.
James O'Brien. It is 18 minutes after 11. I won't tease you or stretch out the tension on that suggestion. It's an interesting piece of the jigsaw because we don't all have the same political views as our parents, of course. But the caller yesterday that perhaps gave the most food for thought beyond the obvious conversation about how a Home Secretary, how this particular Home Secretary could have chosen at the beginning of this football tournament to side, very deliberately chose as well. You know, I think the interview was given on GBBs, which is clearly, you know, quite a large tool in the culture war and the so-called culture war, and how she could have ended up deciding to side with the racists that were booing the footballers protesting against racism. The caller speculated yesterday on what may, you know, happen in her family and may have happened in her own childhood and history. So I can't believe I didn't know this. I would do it as a true or false, but I think I've removed any jeopardy from that question. Priti Patel's dad was a... James O'Brien. It is. The caller speculated yesterday on what may, you know, happen in her family and may have the racists that were booing the footballers protesting against racism. The caller speculated yesterday on what may, you know, happen in her family and may have happened in her own childhood and history. So I can't believe I didn't know this. I would do it as a true or false, but I think I've removed any jeopardy from that question. Priti Patel's dad was a UKIP candidate.
Hi.
Yeah, me too. 19 after 11. Back to the question of enforcement. Brian has prompted a slight diversion.
This has been the woman that they put in our face. So anytime anything racial happens, she can cry, I'm Indian and I faced racism. But her dad was going to be, literally was up for a UKIP. UKIP is the modern version of the National Front. Understand that, brothers and sisters. It's the modern version of the National Front. And many of us don't understand Indian history and the Hindu. I know I'm going somewhere that you lot don't know, or many of you don't appreciate, but we got to understand the caste system. And in some, I've got many Indian friends, man, and they're militant, they're down with us. But you got to understand that some of them have this caste system mentality where we are at the bottom and we're called the Dalits. We are called the untouchables. So in their so-called infrastructure, in their so-called community, in not all of Indians, I must say this now, not all, but many of them believe in the caste system, and brothers and sisters, they could be more racist than the white, blonde hair, blue-eyed white people. So don't get twisted. Yeah, when you see an Indian man join the UKIP. So sister, I'm not putting you on the spot, but I am putting you on the spot, sister. What have you got to say?
I just put in the chat, and that's why BAME is a massive problem. We can't have that acronym to include everybody. She doesn't speak for me. She doesn't speak for, I guess, a large group of ethnic minorities. But what she does do is have a position of power that has impact. And when we have people speaking those sorts of comments, and driving those sorts of narratives, it's only going to be ending in one way, and that's definitely not going to be benefiting all. And it's definitely not something that's going to be uniting any type of kingdom. So we definitely need to make sure that we oppose at any possible time that we have comments such as what she has, and definitely the things that she drives and pushes forward across politics and society.
Wow, wow, wow. Sister, you know, we need you, sister. I'm telling you now, sister, we need you. I love the way you talk. I love your forthrightness. I love the fact that you don't play around. I love the fact that you've been there, you've done it, you've seen it. And, you know, it's very rare to meet a sister like you, sister. I know Michael Johnson introduced me to you properly, but sister, I love the way you speak. And not just speak, I love what you are doing. Just before now, because I'm going to move on to Troy Townsend. Now, I want you to stay with us, sister, because we're all going to be talking together. I'm just bringing each one of you on separately, but I want us to all to gel and just flex. And remember, brothers and sisters, if you've got questions, please pose those questions to Sister Jarita, and you know you can be involved.
Can you hear me?
Sorry?
Oh, you can hear me. There we are.
Yeah. I'll hold on to those questions right now. So I'm going to bring on Troy Townsend, and once we all go into our joint talk, then sister, it's all yours. It's all yours.
Right. No worries.
So, brothers and sisters, hey, why? You see, you know when you know mafia. No, let me start this properly. You know when you know gangster. That's what I'm dealing with now. You know when you know the mafiosa, my family. That's what you're dealing with right now. This is the Dungargan of the Dungargan of Gargan, okay? Troy Townsend, I left him, man, because this brother, he does not play. This brother here, he's dealt with the top. He's dealt with the grassroots. You see him there, busting his black, sometimes I don't like him. I'm gonna make it publicly known. Sometimes I really can't stand this brother, but at the same time, I love this brother, okay? Because this brother's got everything. I love this brother. You see him there, he's in the echelons of the England, FA. He's been there. They know him on a first name basis. And he's there because of the love, not just for black people. I'm going to make it very, very, very plain. He loves truth. He loves freedom, and he loves justice, and he loves equality. No color necessarily have to be attached to that, because that's who we are as a people. We love freedom, justice, and equality. And Troy Townsend, yes, he's the father of Andros Townsend, who's been on the news for the last 2 days. I believe he's now moved from Crystal Palace to Everton. Troy can obviously update us on that. But Troy is someone that's obviously he's mixing with the top people. Here he is, speaking with Gareth Southgate, England manager, telling him what to do in the finals, what system to play, everything. He's the secret behind the success. Yeah. So, this is our brother Troy Townsend, brothers and sisters. Troy, sorry to keep you waiting, King. How are you doing, my brother?
Andrew, I just want to start by saying blessings to your father, Mr. G. When I was a young man with no father figure, Mr. G was a father figure. He's a man of very few words. But boy, when he spoke, we made sure we stood up and listened. So blessings to Mr. G, and respect to your family and Sister Sharon as well. God bless her brother. So yeah, I just wanted to say that to start with. I'm well. I'm going to say this openly. I don't know how to follow Michael Johnson and Eartha, that's for sure. But I remain very tired in this space. I remain very worn about the topic of conversation that we've discussed already tonight, but I remain very proud of our people in the way that they're holding and carrying themselves, particularly when our voices are being controlled or have been controlled. And I've said this in the past, but tonight I did no interviews last week in regards to the fallout of the England setup, because everyone's heard everything that I have to say. you know, and I'm tired of giving sound bites to BBC News and to ITV when my words become misconstrued, you know.
Yes.
So apart from Saturday when I did something which was a half an hour show, I'm blessing you tonight because you are one of the most important people on this journey.
Troy, that means a lot to me, brother. That means a lot because I know as soon as anything kicks off, you are all over the world. You're doing releases, press releases, you're doing interviews. And so I know that you've got the choice of the litter. You know what I'm trying to say, brother? And that means a lot. And so it's not just for me, he's Brother Troy Townsend is talking about the respect he has for the Hidden True family, which is all of you, brothers and sisters, that, you know, we have got, you know, Troy Townsend on this platform today. And we thank you so much, Troy. But Troy, the same question. Now I'm going to throw some questions of you, Troy, because I know we got Brother Rodney in the background. I got some bad people on this platform tonight. Troy, I'm going to throw you the question I've asked Sister Eartha and Brother Michael. Troy, what's been in your feelings, brother, over the last week or so, 2 weeks, over this whole Euro fiasco, especially with the work you've been doing from grassroots right up to the England manager himself, Troy? What's been your feelings, Troy? Tell us, talk to us, brother.
Do me a favor, allow me to share the screen, Andrew. You know I always like to share a screen.
I'm going to do that, Troy, man.
I am never guided by...
It's all yours, King.
I'm never guided by individuals that work or organizations that work in this space. So people talk about racism because it helps their agenda. You know, you put up a picture of Priti Patel just then, and the one thing you didn't mention is that, yes, she was opposed to the taking of the knee. Yes, she allowed people to actually boo those England players. But the minute England reached the semi-final, she made sure that she put on her England shirt and made sure she had a publicity picture.
Oh, Troy, you're going
as the same did Boris Johnson, who eventually turned up to Wembley.
He's on tonight.
He was not interested in the group stages. He was not interested in the group stages.
Whoa.
But the minute there was an opportunity for him to see, and what that opportunity was for him to gain votes, he put on his England shirt. He went to Wembley. He was the worst dressed man in the entire stadium. But as far as he was concerned, he was showing allegiance to his country.
Punches.
And I'm not really a politician. So when Eartha speaks, I have to sit down and hold my corner because I don't really do politics. But you see when them people come in and want to mess about with our game, yeah? Because it suits their tone, it suits their narrative. You best come through me first, yeah? Because I'm fed up of how they try and influence and control in this space, you know? But let me tell you, I'm going to share something with you.
Troy, just before you do that, because Troy, I forgot, no, Troy, I love you, big brother. Because you're right, because not only did Eartha, you know, and yourself now pull out Priti Patel, but let's not forget our great brother that literally responded back to her online. And I want to thank this brother because they say it's the first time someone of his stature and playing for England was saying, you know, we don't want your crocodile tears. Because as soon as she came out, oh, I'm so disgusted by these England fans. No, you stoked that fire. When we as black players are trying to do our best to highlight this, you called it gesture politics. And now you stoked the fire, you fed that narrative, and now once it kicks off, all of a sudden now you're disgusted. See, the same tricks they used to play on our mothers and fathers don't work on this generation no more.
But this is what I'm trying to say to you.
Troy, I'm handing it back to you.
This is what I'm trying to say to you. Just a little bit about Tyrone Mings. You know, Tyrone waited until the end of the competition. So he was asked the question during the competition when he was doing a press conference, and he kind of gave a bland answer. And many people were criticizing him. And Tyrone said, no. You see, we're in the middle of a competition that we want to win for the nation. So I'm not letting her control my thought process. But the minute the competition finished and she wanted to give it a little thing about England, Tyrone went in. And he went in two-footed and he made the best tackle that he's ever made, okay? But what that did is that grew criticism as well from fellow politicians and people who felt that footballers should just be there to kick a ball and should never be there. Never be there. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, again, Tyrone is a absolute blessed individual. They are not going to play with us no more. They are not going to play. But this is what I wanted to show you. And this is what, you know, you guys will know. and this is why I talk about controlling the narrative. Look at all those press cuttings and tell me what you see.
Come on.
Look at what all of those press cuttings, tell me what you see. This was on the night or the morning after Raheem Sterling had scored for the 3rd England match in a row. Okay, so all of a sudden he became the top scorer for England in the Euro. In a matter of fact, I'm going to say this: he was carrying England on his back. Yeah, and for a little yardie boy, that is tremendous, by the way. But he held up England, and yet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 front pages showed no acknowledgement to Raheem because the England captain had scored. The England captain, who was having a very, very poor competition up until that stage.
He missed the penalty.
But hold on. Sorry. Look at the newspaper that put Raheem on the front page. Look at the newspaper, bottom left, that put Raheem on the front page. The Sun newspaper, the same newspaper that has been victimizing black people, amongst others, for many, many a year. Okay, long before I was born, no doubt, and I'm old. Okay, but all of a sudden, Raheem's good enough to be on their front page. I got involved in a little conversation on social media with a Sun reporter who decided to at me on social media because he saw that I liked to tweet from a journalist that said, "That's pretty rich coming from the Sun." He then started to control the conversation where I must almost bow down to him.
Woo!
The Sun is trying to do its bit, and we must applaud the Sun for putting Raheem on the front page. So I'm not even going to tell you how the rest of that conversation went because, Andrew, you know me well enough. You know me well enough. But that is why I still talk about controlling the narrative. They always want to control. If it's not our thought process, it will be those people that will read that and think, "Oh yeah, look how great Harry Kane has been," you know, whilst forgetting what Raheem Sterling has done. Listen, I had to delete man from my account for the way they were disrespecting Raheem. But listen, that's another thing. Then we go on to this, right? And then we go on to the impact of that social media abuse that anyone that works in this business, whether you're black, white, pink, gray, whatever, if you're really honest, you know that the players were going to get it. So as Marcus walked up to take that penalty, I was confident he was going to score. He missed. Marcus Rashford has done more for this nation in a year, right, than what Boris Johnson and his band of whatever you want to call them have done for the time that they've been in term. But all of a sudden, he became public enemy #1 instantly. But we can continue. Jadon Sancho then becomes public enemy #2.
Is there a picture we meant
No,
to
wait,
see?
it's coming. It's coming.
Sorry.
Then Bakary Saka, obviously 19 years of age, walking up to take the penalty. In his own kind of press release, a couple of days later, he said it was playing on his mind that the abuse was going to happen. So a 19-year-old with the most important strike of a ball from 12 yards that he will have up to this period of time in his short career is thinking about racial abuse as he steps up to take that penalty. Is it any wonder he missed?
Exactly.
Is it any wonder? Because he's not just got the pressure of taking the penalty. By the way, he could probably take it with his eyes closed on any other given day. He's got the pressure of the backlash. And all of a sudden, how proud people were that he was wearing the 3 lines, because again, he was one of England's better players. He then became public enemy #3. And my thing is that I'm done with these social media platforms. You know, I'm done with the fact that Sky Sports we need to go to Facebook to get a statement. Facebook are always going to be give you a statement that looks okay.
Yes.
But Andrew, I've been working in this space for 10 years with the same statement year after year. So why are people now going, "Oh, isn't it great that Instagram put a statement out? Isn't it great that Twitter responded in that way?" No, it's embarrassing that we're still talking in the same way. So Instagram, owned by Facebook, do not think monkey emojis are racist. Do not think gorilla emojis are racist. Do not think that there's now an emoji that can depict a slave. Do not think that is racist as well. But I'm gonna apologize for the next image I show you, because generally I wouldn't show this image, but it's the image that I took to Twitter last week and said to them, with all the new fancy designs that they have, that they said they're blocking all these different connotations. This post stayed up for 15 hours before any action. Okay. And that's this.
Oh
Now,
no.
for anyone that doesn't appreciate this, we all know George Floyd
Troy.
and the respect
Troy.
that we've grown to have for George Floyd and the way that he passed,
Troy.
but the way that his name has galvanized us as Black people and our allies. So whoever this is decided to put Buckaroo Saka as George Floyd and George Chiellini, the Italian centre back, as the American police officer who's now been found guilty of George Floyd's murder and decided to depict that image. And by the way, I've scribbled it out, but it also said 3 out of 3 ends missed. I won't repeat the word.
Yes.
That's what we're having to deal with. That is what actually Twitter are ignoring. So when I mentioned it to them, they were like, oh my God, wow, okay. And I went, well, that's not good enough no more. I don't want to hear that. You are a multi-billion-dollar platform with an opportunity to not only eliminate this, but to seek out the perpetrators. So that when people now start saying, oh, 70%, if you've heard the stats, 70% of the tweets last week, the hatred, the vile hatred, the racism directed at our Black players was from abroad. So what, does that make it any better? Does that mean that we're not going to focus on the 30% as well, who decided from this country, business people, a grassroots football coach, a student who applied for Nottingham University? Are we saying that that's acceptable? So we have a massive issue in this country where the respect for people of our color skin, of our background, is at zero. But what they try to do is confuse us by little small things that think that the bigger picture is getting better. I'll sit here now and tell you, I respect John Barnes, but his whole point of view is wrong. His whole point of view is wrong. He grew up in an industry that racially abused him. He doesn't want to recognize it, but it did. Yes, society has a massive problem, but football has a problem which it can eliminate if it really wants to.
Yes.
So what does that say to you? It says to you that football doesn't want to eliminate the problem, because we're still here, you know, from Albert Johansson to the Cyril Regises, to the Laurie Cunninghams, to the John Barnes era, to the now, you know, Marcus Rashford and era. Why is football still ignoring this problem? And at the moment, football's very grateful that actually, oh, it's only happening on social media. So do you know what? We don't have to worry too much because the pressure's not on us. I tell you now, when the ball kicks off for the start of the Premier League season and the English football season, and those players are still taking the knee, we best all be ready to shout down football and its lack of messaging in this area. I also just wanted to focus on everyone, you know, if you're a racing fan, would have seen how incredible Lewis Hamilton was on Sunday in the way that he won the British Grand Prix, the home Grand Prix. And Lewis, you know, had a bit of battle with Verstappen, took his punishment, had to take a 10-second punishment, zoomed off, came back through the crowd, bam, won the race. Ecstatic. Hero. Monday, racist abuse. So sometimes when people say, but when they win, they love us. When we lose, they hate us. No. They hate us. Full stop.
Win.
Yeah, they hate us. Full stop. So let's stop that stupidness. Yeah. They hate us. Full stop. Lewis, what he's also doing, remember, when Lewis, he's the only black driver, when he asked the rest of his colleagues, the people that drive against him, to take this stance of taking the knee in the biggest environment, you know, before a race. Some of them said, yeah, we're behind you, Lewis. Some of them said, I ain't doing that. Nah, I ain't doing that. And then just before the British Grand Prix, a former president said that Lewis Hamilton is concentrating too much on racism and trying to eliminate it than driving a car. And that's why he's not winning at the moment. So that victory for Lewis was also 2 fingers up to Bernie Ecclestone, his name.
Yes.
Because he can do both. Because apparently black people can't do 2 things at once.
Yes.
Do them well. Okay. But what Lewis Hamilton's done, and I would urge anybody, you'll see at the bottom, hamiltoncommission.org. Go on Lewis's website. This commission that he's creating is going to smash not only the motor racing industry, it's
Yes.
going to smash the world in regards to how they disrespect black people. So
That's
what
right.
he's done, that he's highlighted a couple of points, you know. So engineering is you know, part of what the motor racing industry is. 2% of black people get engineering apprentices. Why? Because it's seen as a high-end industry where black people can't excel. Next, half of schools in England have no black, Asian, or minority ethnic teachers. 46%, none. So where are our children's role models? Where are the people that our children can absolutely resonate with and talk on the same level with, if we're not promoting black, Asian, and minority ethnic teachers to help our next generation to understand what we have been through, but what the future may hold for them? And just in here, 500,000 teachers in England, 500,000. Only 2% are from black backgrounds. So whenever we decide where our core problem and issues are, this is where our core problem and issue is. But this is also where we rise as our community, because no longer now do our community need to be taught about our history in school. No longer do our community have to wait to understand how difficult this has been for their mothers, their fathers, their brothers, or their sisters. You know, because platforms like this and the energy that it creates enables us to go and empower our young people to excel and to do better. And one thing that I'll say to anybody, the reason why I keep sticking my neck above the water, the parapet, is because I don't see anyone in football at the highest level that creates the same noise as me. And because I create that noise, football doesn't like me. So Andrew introduced me and said, you know, he's accepted within the England environment. He's accepted within the FA environment. No, I'm not. They have to put up with me. Yeah, they don't accept me. They have to put up with me. And then in putting up with me, when they close the door and go and eat their cheese sandwich, they'll say, boy, that Troy Townsend again, man. How do we get rid of him? So I've had lawsuits against me. I've had people disrespect and disregard my name. And I've had people absolutely talking behind closed doors saying, how do we get rid of him? But then I'm going to say this, Andrew, and this last thing, and I know I've taken quite a
Troy,
while
this is this is yours, brother.
I've got a business platform, and everyone that knows LinkedIn,
Yes.
LinkedIn is supposed to be a business platform, right? Over the last year, I've been racially abused on LinkedIn, okay? A business platform, okay? Yes. And then only last week, when I made the post of my observations about the England team and what they were having to go through, I had a black coach who I don't know say to me, what are you doing then? All you're doing is creating all this noise. What are you doing? And the problem is, I do not like to argue with our own people in public.
That's right.
You know why? Because people then say, oh, look at them. Look at them. Yeah. Chips on their shoulders, arrogant, ignorant, blah, blah, blah. So I had to school my brother. I just had to school him. Yeah. And it's disappointing that I had to school him because it's in the public domain. But he called me out in the public domain. But right. I schooled him. So there's no argument, no. But all I've just said to him is, go and have a look at my CV. Please. Do you know what I mean? Just go and have a look at my CV. And to be fair, some of the comments afterwards were, Google Troy Townsend, and I won't say his name, Google this fella's name and put racism after it. Look at Troy Townsend and everything that he's done. And by the way, I don't think I've achieved anything. You know, I'm here for people. I'm not here to elevate my own platform or my name, but I'm here for, when I was growing up, I had people I looked up to. And hopefully when I walk away from here, not my children are old now, but my children's children, my grandchildren who are starting to walk on this earth, don't have to experience the things that we have experienced consistently, spoken about consistently. And what we're doing is we're empowering, like Earth has said, the new generation now to take control of their own journey, you know. And I want us to be seen on a par. We're not there yet. We're not going to be there for a good time, by the way. But I can see different signs, and I can see signs where no longer are we accepting the voice that people bestow on us as the gospel. Sorry, Andrew, but that's...
Brothers and sisters, no, Troy, that's what I love, brother. The way you speak, brother, It's not the words I'm listening to, brother. The words are powerful, brother. I feel your source. I feel your energy. I feel the love in your heart for brothers and sisters. Please don't do this with me. If you felt Troy, and I'm not even asking many questions yet. If you felt him just now, put something in the chat room to let him know that. It's not for me. Because I know what I felt when the brother just spoke just now. You tell him yourself, man. Because Troy, I want you to know, brother, you've got an army behind you, brother, whether you know it or whether you don't know it. We're underground. We're grassroots.
Can I just say to you, the last year has taught me that we're all around me. So whereas before I used to think I was walking alone, do you know what I mean? And I was closing a door behind me and then getting beaten up by these people who think, why, what's it you talking about? This last year and a bit has shown me that I'm walking with energy. I'm walking with so much energy, and I can feel the energy as well. And I think you asked Eartha, you're going to talk to Rodney, you asked Jono. That energy, we can feel our own energy. And I think that energy drives us on. When I have my difficult days, when I have my days when I don't want to open up to the world, it's the energy that drives me on to keep going. And people's messages empower us to continue to believe that we can make change.
Brothers and sisters, I told you, Troy Townsend does not play. I'm excited tonight. Troy Townsend does not play. And Troy, I'm coming right back to you, my king. Just please, brother, because tonight I'm just bringing on, we're going to, I've got 2 more people on the bring on, then all of us are going to be on at one time. Sister Sandra Richards, Dr. Sandra Richards, forgive me. Dr. Sandra Richards, are you with us, sister? Dr. Sandra Richards, I'm hoping that this is, Dr. Sandra Richards, man, I hope you've been listening, my queen, because you know you're part of my spiritual council there. You're part of, the understanding of this aspect on a global and universal level. Sister Dr. Sandra is a researcher. She's a philosopher. She's a teacher. She's worked, again, as I say, she's got a doctorate. She's worked all over the world, from the West Indies, America, the Caribbean, all over, beloved. You've heard from our brother Troy. And I felt the brother. But sister, please talk to us, sister. What do you see as some, and I know we're gonna have a deeper conversation as this goes on tonight. What would you want to say? I'm not even gonna ask you a question right now, sister. Listening to Troy, listening to Eartha and Michael, what's in your heart to say right now before we go even deeper?
Give thanks, greetings family. First of all, before I go any further, I also want to acknowledge Elder Melbourne Alfonso Grant, who has transitioned, thanks. And my beloved sister Sharon, but she has lost her brother also. Has really, really touched me. In terms of what I'm hearing tonight, part of me was smiling, and another part of me is feeling incredibly hurt.
Yes.
Hurt because what I'm hearing is the frustration that's coming out of pain. And as I listen to Troy, good evening, Troy, and good evening, everyone else, there is an awakening happening. There's a real awakening. Troy was ending up by saying he recognizes that he's walking with energy, and also recognizing the price that you pay.
Literally paying the price.
Speaking out against oppression that we feel. We often don't have the luxury of saying that we are wounded by the hurt that we continue to feel. We're feeling it at school, we're feeling it in the workplace, we're feeling it everywhere. And when we offer up this forgiveness that we have so much of, and we want to walk with mankind, we want to walk with people together, and something happens and then you become attacked, the betrayal is incredibly deep. I witnessed men crying over this whole thing. Men were crying because, and I'm talking about African men now, I'm talking about Black men now.
Yes.
I'm not concerned about anyone else. I'm really about our healing and our repair. That's where my energy is.
Yes.
There was such a deep disappointment and shock and disbelief, although we know where we are, because that's what's been happening this evening. We've been speaking about the history of racism and all of the things that we've had to go through. So right now, and I know we're going to talk a little bit more later.
Yes.
Right now, I am very humbled to be on this platform with ones who are as powerful as the speakers. I mean, listening to Councillor Eartha and just watching Her Majesty. She is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Like, the optics are amazing and her accomplishments are amazing. And as I look at her, she's young and she's down there with a Afro-comb on her t-shirt. The optics, a sovereignty over self. That is what I am seeing, that we are now stepping up and saying, it's past time. It's past time for a change.
Yes, my queen.
Past time for a change.
You see, sis, as you know, I'm going to be bringing you in, sister, because I think you're going to be giving us the spiritual healing tonight and to rise above the madness and look down at it from another level. And that's what I would love for you to feed us on this tonight, okay, sister? But isn't it beautiful? I want to say, because we've got over 400 plus people, we're moving towards 500 people on the platform tonight. But I want us just to appreciate something. Do you notice that we've been on the cusp of some of the most vile abuse over the last week or two? But look and listen to how we are talking. No one is cussing any other people. We're not, if we were anything else, we'd be talking about we need to do this to them. We need to kill them. We need to call them. But look how we are. Doesn't it show us the nature of our people, man? We are. Come on, Sister Carol, Sister Sandra. Sorry.
What you're speaking of is a people who have the capacity to love in the face of the most enduring, intentional wickedness.
It's intentional.
It has to be intentional. I'm a researcher. This has been done on purpose. And the sadness is that many of us are waking up to it. And the realization is causing so much pain at our core. We can't believe that people would be so wicked. But if you look at history, if you even look at today, you see that many of the organizations, many of the systems, the policies, the politics, the everything puts us at the bottom. So when I see giants like Troy and Councillor Eartha and Michael and yourself speak about this, we have to speak about this without apology. Without apology. It's not our fault. When you are assaulted, you don't then walk around and try and hide and protect the person who is doing the assault. What you do is you speak about your lived experience, and our lived experience is legitimate. And that's why we need to be about the healing work. And when you invited me to speak on this, of course I would come, because we are so hurt. When Lewis Hamilton won at the weekend, well, before he won, I was hearing so much shouting and commotion, and now I don't know anything about football. I know very little about race and cars, but I know about African people. And I was hearing when he won, I have to tell you what happened in my house. Mr. Beer Sly nearly took everything off of the wall. The celebration that went on because of the things beyond winning the race.
Come on.
Because of what he's had to overcome.
Come on.
Because when you do that to him, when you do that to those young footballers,
come
when
on,
you do that to George Floyd, you're doing it to us. There is no separation. There is no separate. When they stop our children on the street, they are not asking if that child belongs to Sister Dr. Sandra Richards. They see a young African, usually male, and they apply injustice. That's what they do. And we need to wake up to it. Now, I'm not about the hate. I don't want to amplify. I want to amplify love. What we need to do, well, I'll talk about what we need to do later.
Beautiful, sis.
We need to amplify love.
Don't worry, we're bringing you straight back in, sis, because that's see, we're not going to just be talking about this out of rhetoric. This is where you now come in, sister. And yeah, I want you to hold on to that bit a bit later, because, and I want you to give us some homework, sister. Please think about something that you can give us to practice over the next few weeks or few days, whatever it may be, but because, you know, you're like our counselor right now, sister. We need counseling, all of us. Brothers and sisters, what a powerful night. What a powerful night we have. Now, brothers and sisters, this here is again one of our top footballers, Kazim Richards. Powerful brother. And many of us have been talking about whether we should take a knee, not take a knee. But this brother came onto the international platform because not only has he played all over the world, not only is he an international player, at the time when everyone was taking the knee, this brother said, I'm not taking a knee, I'm putting up the black fist. Now, many of us spoke about this and we said, oh my gosh, can you imagine? See, they're used to us taking a knee, which is more of a subservient. We're saying, please. When you take a knee, you're saying, please. We said, would you back us in the community? Would you back us? Sky Sports, would you back us in the FA? Would you back us? Barclays Bank and all the people that put money into football. If our players say, you know what? We're not going to take a knee no more. We're going to stand on our own 2 feet and put up a black fist. Brothers and sisters, can you imagine? This is what this brother's done. Come on, if you're feeling this, brother, put some damn ones on there. Put down Smelly. If you're feeling this, brother, he is like Troy Townsend. He, you know, some of us are made as world changers. Some of us are saying, you know, I know who I am. I'm not taking a knee. I'm not against you. If you want to take a knee, you take a knee. But I'm a black man today. I hear Malcolm X. I hear Farrakhan. I hear Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. And you know what? I've been told to stand up as a black man. Now, brothers and sisters, this is the same brother. He played international football. I believe it's for Turkey. He's played in the Premiership. He plays for Derby County right now. This is his father, because you know the fruit. You know the tree, sorry, by the fruit it bears. Now, what kind of father must he have had to be a black man to say on the international scale, I am not kneeling anymore. I put up my black fist for black power. Brothers and sisters, I'm so pleased to announce to all of you today, we have the father of Kazim Richards, the same brother you saw there on the international scale, okay, taking a fist for black people. Here's his father, our brother, Rodney Richards. Rodney, could you unmute yourself, my king? How you doing, my brother?
Good evening. Can you hear me? I'm actually in the car at the moment, and the lens on the phone is cracked. But I've just come from all this.
Clearly, brother.
Okay, lovely. So again, like everybody else, Andrew, I want to send you my blessings and commiserations to your family. I wasn't fortunate enough to meet your mum and dad, okay, ever. But what I was fortunate enough is to share, for your family to share and influence my life. 2 of your brothers are instrumental in my upbringing, Lloyd and Tony, and that can only come from the parenting, as you just said, the fruit and the tree. And Tony, without Tony met me at 16 years old, 15 years old, walking around in a Brentford top and outside his house in Walthamstow, and invited me for trial. I wouldn't have played football to the level that I played, and my son, as I've told you before, would never have been a footballer unless I had the mentoring that your brother gave me. Your other brother Lloyd grew up in my house with my cousins, the Sheridans, as you know, and was one of several big brothers and people that kept me straight, because, as you know, I could be a little bit wild from time to time.
You was a bad boy back in the day. Let's keep it real, brother. You was one of the article dons in the area, brother.
Only through love of my people. All I did was protect those I love. You know, I never took anything from nobody, and I never took anything but my 2 hands and my foot to defend myself. You understand? And I'll be that way. As for my son, well, I'll just tell you a little bit about us. You know, my grandmother is mixed race from Antigua. My family's from Antigua. My grandmother's dad was a Sheridan who got sent back to Ireland because he drank and gambled. But the Sheridans ran Grace Foods in Antigua.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, so that's my dynasty. I have if I had enough time, I would have sent it to you. I've got the PDF of the ship that my nan came over on, and a number, and probably some of you lot's families might be on that ship. It's got all the seating, it's got where she's going to live in London and everything. I'll send that to you, Andrew, and possibly just through names, some people can do some research of their own. So on that side, we come from there. My son's mother was a Turkish Cypriot refugee who came over in 1974 with the Troubles.
Yes.
With the Troubles. My son had to nationalize. My son was born in England, grew up in England, and had to nationalize at the age of 18 and go and pledge allegiance to the Queen and country at 18 years old, because when we went for his passport, we found out he was stateless, because him and his mother and I were not married. We're still together, not married, 38 years, when he was born. And thus, his parentage was decided on his mother's. Yes. And my son is not English.
Yes.
My son is a UK citizen and could have chose, and so his disparity started very early on, unbeknown to him, and caught him up at 18 years old, and he is as straight as it comes. He's as proud of his Turkish destiny. He explains it, and he says that, including myself, away from my dad, me and all of my family are immigrants to this country. Wow. And they treated me like an immigrant. You understand? And I've got to correct you, he never kneeled. When the kneeling started, he was in Mexico. Okay? Mexico by himself. And he told the Mexican team he will never kneel. He's at a team called Pachuca. Right? He's at a team called Pachuca. Pachuca never kneeled. The whole team, they all stood with their hands behind their back with him around the center. Never kneeled to this day. Pachuca never kneeled. Okay? He said, he said, do you know, kneeling is, I understand everybody's feeling, but Colin's thing is this. When you kneel, okay, you kneel before the Queen. You're a subject. The word subject is derived from submissive. Men are submissive to that. You understand? I'm not submissive to that or making a submission to that. He said, I am not bending on my knee and asking my oppressor for peace. I'm not doing that. You understand? So that's where that comes from. Do you know that my son is the only footballer charged with a racist crime in this country, and the first footballer charged and prosecuted with, they've classified it as racist because they want to, but it's actually swearing in. He got done for swearing in public. Okay, that's another story for another day. But I just find it funny that out of all the people that can be prosecuted or can get nearly, John Cherry mouthing what he mouthed,
So, brother Rodney, are you saying? No, you need to make that very plain, brother. So we don't.
Oh,
I don't want to miss.
I don't want to upset anybody, right? Let me explain to you. I don't want to upset anybody because we have rules. Everybody's equal. I don't care who you sleep with, where you look like. You're entitled to not like me, right? You're entitled to not like me, okay? You're not entitled to take your dislike of me and oppress me, okay? You're allowed to close your doors and choose who you want for your son and choose who you want for your daughter. But you see, when we come out in public, leave me alone.
Yes.
You understand? Leave me alone. We all have opinions. We've all learned. We've all come away from some of our more radical beliefs as we've come more wholesome people. You understand? I can tell you straight. My mum's a lovely Antiguan whose granddad was from Corking Island, Sheridan. You can go look up. Rodney, nobody bring no white girl in my house. You understand? We've all lived that. You understand? And we've all grown from that. And again, that's a fine statement as long as you don't live that against somebody when they're in your presence. Do you understand? Some people like rice, some people don't like rice. I get that. So anyway, you want to ask me something about that? Go and ask me. Go and ask me.
No. I was going to say, as a father, I mean, I just wanted to make sure that I heard you right. That your son, this proud black man, standing up with his fist, was the first footballer to be charged and prosecuted for racism.
Well, I'm going to say footballer or fan, because how many fans do you know that have held up to public account? So he went to Brighton. He was constantly racially abused during the match. He was constantly racially abused during the match, but not for being black. They were very cynical. They were saying "F off back to Turkey, you F Turkey, C-U-N-T," constantly. He said at one stage, Colin's got a tick. So Colin's got a tick where his shin pads have to be straight. So he pulls his socks and straightens his shin constantly. And his other tick is if he defends front post at all corners and he claps his things. And then they kept doing it. And it was a woman that was doing it. And she said, absolutely abusing him. Okay. So he said he bent down to do it again. And they started, aye, that's homophobic. So I said, that's not homophobic. But since you don't like that, watch this. So Colin bent down, Colin started broke wine. You understand? Oh, listen. And then obviously he said, then it became more sinister and personal. So behind his back, he's doing the WNKER sign, for, you understand? Yeah. He's doing that. So now, but when you go to court, the evidence in court that was given is that he backed into Wayne Bridge and gesticulated gay sex with him. Well, Wayne should be so lucky. You understand? But yet Wayne wouldn't come to court and do that. So what he admitted is making the W sign, the W gesture. Yeah. And so what he actually got charged for was public disorder and swearing in public. But what the papers print is that it was a homophobic gesture. Like I said, but that same gesture is not homophobic at Arsenal Football Stadium. So like I said, it's a narrative. Now Colin's got an opinion on that. We're very graphic and very direct in our description. And he says, and one of the things levied at him was that, you should know better. You're a black man. You understand racism. And he said, my racism my understanding of racism is that's homophobic. He said, I get it. And he said, and I get that. And everything. He said, Dad, let me tell you something. I get up in the morning and I walk the street. You don't know who I am. You don't know if I just, I'm bisexual, one sexual, bestiality, whatever. The one thing you know about me,
I'm a black man.
I'm black man. So don't. I'm not thinking. You understand? He said so. No one can equate my pain. You understand? Or or diminish it by equating it to something else. I'm not diminishing anybody else's pain. Do you understand? So that part of it, very quickly. My opinion on
Rodney, just very quickly, bro. Just very quickly, because I'm going to be
I love you, man.
in the group discussion. But please let us know very quickly, brother. How did you feel seeing when the newspapers printed your son standing up like that? As a father, how did it make you feel, King?
Unbelievable. But those of you, Troy will speak. You've known Colin from a young age in passing and seen him with me. Troy grew him, yeah. And one thing Troy will tell you that both me and him, you know me. He stands on ceremony as much as I do, King. You understand? And he what he has done now, he has found a vocabulary and a vernacular, and he says what he wants whenever he wants, and he don't take back no chat from nobody. Michael Johnson is a member of Derby, and Michael, I haven't had a conversation with Michael. Michael will bear testimony as to how refreshing everybody at Derby has found him, because he finds a way to translate the fact that he now speaks 4 languages. You know, maybe it helps. And he's lived in 8 countries and played for 17 clubs across the world and won 4 titles, 2 in one season in 2 different countries, which they don't keep saying. He was a journeyman, but all of a sudden he's well traveled because he can embarrass them linguistically now and intellectually, and so again the narrative has changed. But I was so proud, and I was so proud. I was scared as well. I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely.
Terrified. And this is the part that people don't see about parents in football. Troy didn't even allude to it. Me and Troy know what this is. It's a horrible pain, let alone for being black, just for being in football anyway. Maybe it's for being black, because being black in football is a double down.
Yes.
It's horrific. We sleep with blankets. So, listen, something happens, the lights go dim. We have to shut the door and close it. People have no idea about that. The impact on our kids and our family, not just growing up in serving that kid like he's a king, because you have to give him triple what you're giving everything else just for his mentality to be balanced, right? And then afterwards, to keep conserve the mood of Troy will tell you this. Whatever mood his son is in is the mood that governs the whole family. If he's hiding, we hide. If he's in pain, we're in pain. It's unbelievable. I can only imagine what the family of Saka, Rashford, and Sancho are going through now. It's horrific. And it has been horrific from day one. And my son is now celebrated. And I'm telling you, it's horrific. It's not nice.
And that's the side we never hear about.
Yeah, he scored on Sunday against Man U. As you know, I sent you the thing. That buys me 3 days.
I don't know why you said that madness.
That buys us 3.
And he done the same thing. He scored the super goal against Man United. Then you send me your stupidness of your son.
Right.
Man United.
That buys us 3 days of grace. You get at night, you sleep, right? You know, like when you lost money and then you find it, and that you feel like you've lost it, and you remember, no, damn, I found it, and you have that little lovely feeling for a second. You have that for 2 days. You're lying down, you're thinking, oh, why do I feel energized? Because of Colin done well, and everybody, no one can find a way to attack him today.
But once he makes that mistake,
Lord God. You know what? I'm going to Derby on Friday, because after the big goal that he scored against Nottingham Forest, he was abused that night. One person.
Rodney, we're gonna come back to you on that. No, some powerful stories. Some powerful.
Yeah.
I've got Sister Amma who just posed that she loves you. It looks like you two both had the same mother. The way you've been explaining. I know you're a bit of a gallus, brother, so I know that the girls.
No, stop that. But Andrew, for me, just on the England thing, you asked Michael Michael and Troy the question. Was I surprised? No. Will it change? No. Has it changed one bit? Absolutely. It's a million times worse. It's covert. It's professional. It's finesse. Right? It's finesse. You got to understand. And you can't complain about it now. And what I said to everybody, I said, God help us if England win, because all these people get doubled down, get to keep their jobs, everything. How can you complain? We won. We're the best. I was terrified. Terrified that they would win. And you know the biggest thing? I had a feeling of breathlessness throughout all the utopia in the 3 weeks of the competition. I was out of breath. And you know what it reminded me of? You know what I remember? Running to the shop. Everywhere I went as an 8-year-old till I was 14 years old and learned to lick them down, I ran. I ran from my house. And remember, when your mum told you something, what she tell you? Andrew, run to the corner shop. And she's saying run for a reason. You don't even realize why she's saying run. Because, Andrew, as you're running, the two boys, what you see on the corner, oi, golly, what? You have to run, evade them, straighten yourself back up and keep running. You don't remember that?
Yes, remember.
As black boys, we ran terrified. We ran with your hood up in the warm weather so they couldn't see you. and that's what I felt. I didn't feel utopia. Yeah. I knew if we didn't win, that's what was coming.
We're gonna go there.
Half these children haven't lived through that.
Don't go there yet, Wicked. That's the second. That is the second half of the show, brother.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters, this has been so powerful. Sister Eartha, Brother Troy, Brother Rodney, Sister Sandra. We're gonna have a slight little break. Okay, so everyone, we've got over 400 plus people on the platform. We just want to show you what's going to be coming up, and then Jarita's got a whole lot of questions and comments. I'm sure that we're going to end the show. So we're all going to be on there together, and this is going to be the second half. So brothers and sisters, spare with us as we just go into what's happening and what's going down. So as you know, every week we say you must unlearn what you have learned, brothers and sisters.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
A part of our work on this platform is literally working with the young, working with the youth. Okay, brothers and sisters. So with Westside Young Leaders, if you remember last week, brothers and sisters, last week we were unable to show you the works that we've been doing and how it's been effective. Okay, brothers and sisters. So let's just have a quick with this one now. Yeah, what we're going to be doing, brothers and sisters. Sorry, last week we held the Westside Young Leaders Academy awards night. And brothers and sisters, we didn't even have to advertise it publicly, and we packed out the venue. There's such a movement going on right now, and a big thank you to all of the brothers and sisters that came from all over London to support the Westside Young Leaders Academy, which is an academy we make no apology, no apology. This academy is focused 100% on Black youth of African and Caribbean heritage from the ages of 8 to 16 years old, brothers and sisters. And we had our awards night, and it was awesome, brothers and sisters. We made sure we brought Africa into the house with our African drummers. It was a powerful, powerful night, brothers and sisters. And I also want to let you know this is the work that we're doing. Every time you come and support us on the Hidden Truth Show, and every time you put money towards what we're doing, these are the real life faiths that you're helping. So these are the awards. That's our sister Destiny, who got Peer of the Month, WLA Peer of the Year. We've got various brothers that came out of awards. You see how much they are smiling, brothers and sisters. They had to work for their awards night, okay? This is the feedback. This is what took place in West London, Northwest London, North Wheezy, yeah? The audience was fantastic. The people were energetic, okay? It was a beautiful, beautiful night, brothers and sisters. And I'm telling you, just like we're talking about the England football team, we're talking about sports and media. If we don't learn to build for ourselves, power only respects power. And so I want to make sure that these next generation of leaders and generation of winners, okay, they can literally see that we want them to build a powerful network for us in the future. This is what Westside Young Leaders Academy is really about. So you're seeing the real life work that's taking place. We're looking at the people behind the scenes, mothers who are giving up their time, giving up their finances, and literally supporting us. Okay, we honor them and we thank them. And as you know, we got our lady Adele, who's literally one of our greatest thinkers in the UK. She's there and she runs our girls class. And you see, this is Lady Adele's class. Each week, I'm going to show you a different class of the Westside Young Leaders Academy. This is Lady Adele's Senior Girls Squad.
Attend up. Stand at ease. Attend up. Mark time. March. Left flag march. Left flag march. Right flag march. Right flag march. Artillery march.
Come on.
Artillery.
Come on, please.
Left salute. Westside Queens. Forward march.
Come on, please.
Attend hop. Alright. Westside.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Thank you, West Side, Queens, fall out, fall out, fall out. Let's give it up.
So brothers and sisters, we don't play. We're starting, we're here to make history and you're helping us. That's why we thank when we get 500 people on the platform. No, you're not wasting your time. And you know, I'm gonna thank Badda Wow. Badda for coming down and literally giving us lyrics on the
So 75 Angelus up in here. It's mad. Listen. Stand up. Elders to the bundle. The enemy's right at the gate. And we're killing our own man's up. Are we mad? Stand up. Time to link all the plans up. Time to link all the ends up. Time to link all the men's up. And then what? Stand up. Elders to the banders. The enemy's right at the gate. And we're killing our own man's up. Are we mad? Stand up. Time to link all the plans up. Time to link all the ends up. Listen, look. 8 man strong in 2 tinted whips, not sure if they're with the nation or Panthers. No, they're one of the black groups, I saw their whips park up behind banners. More than 2 doors open simultaneously is a madness. If the driver gets out and opens a passenger, it's diplomat status. Bastard, we don't play on the same grass, kid. I'm not here for some unification, like what you about? I'm just asking. They said that Martin was the last king to get it barking. Said I'm sick and tired of the talking. When I'm back, man, we don't march, kid. I said, I get that, but if we all take a step back, all of us have been losing soldiers, and that's our future, protect that. So when I get back, I got a meeting about the next track. I told them that Westside Young Leaders ain't gonna have that, so then what? Stand up, elders to the banders, enemies right at the gate, and we're killing our old man's up, are we mad? Stand up, time to link all the plans up, time to link all the ends up, time to link all the men's up, and then what? Stand up, elders to the banders, enemies right at the gate, and we're killing our own man's up, are we mad? Hey yo, Westside, I need you to help me with something, watch it. How many times have we posted on social media just to try to raise awareness? Even when it's right in front of their faces like they don't hear us. We've been chatting about kidnapping, my DMs are full of our parents. Let's give Forever Family the door and let's police the whole area. Campaign, same patient with the damn name. All the man that run the ends, time to do more than slang cane. We got epidemic and it's recollectic of an old rhetoric when we didn't even know better. Now we got more control, brother. We can't waste that. Our ancestors were telling their great time. Not everybody's ready for the great plan. Some of them's faker than fake time. Me and my dogs, we out here, like black superheroes. We don't need no cape man. Man wanna roll around and take kids. We will roll around and take man. Stand up, elders to the bandits. Enemies right at the gate. I was killing our own man's up. Are we mad? Stand up. Time to link all the plans up. Time to link all the ends up. Time to to link all the men's up and then what? Stand up.
So brothers and sisters, as we say every week, can you help us build a new reality for our children, man? We're not waiting for Boris. We're not waiting for Priti Patel. We're not waiting for some kind person to see us as a missionary service. Black man and black woman, we want you to support us. If you're supporting us, no one can stop us, man. We ain't into no talking shop. We're in about building a new reality. So brothers and sisters, this is where you want to go. Take a picture of the screen. Help us, man. Make us your tax. Make us your lottery system, brothers and sisters, because we're not here to play around. We're not here to play around. So what's happening with Hidden Truth? We're going to be moving on soon. Brothers and sisters, next week's show is going to be a mad thing. It's going to be a mad thing. Next week's show is Get Up, Stand Up, the power to overcome. Yeah? We're going to be linking up the USA with Jamaica, with the UK. That's next week's show. It's going to be international. We've got Captain Dennis, founder of the Peacekeepers Global Alliance Initiative. We've got Stephen Graham, filmmaker, author, and researcher, who's got his new book coming out next week. It's going to be a mad thing. But you're gonna, those of you on my WhatsApp group, Telegram group, you get information. Those of you on my mail out list, you get information. But you know, Hidden Truth next Tuesday is going to be a live thing, brothers and sisters. It's going to be a mad thing. And then after that, we've got Paul Abina coming up very soon. The global thinker, the timeline originator, Paul Abino, brothers and sisters. And if you would like to donate to keep this show going on, we keep it free of charge. Please go to my website, theinvestigator.org.uk, and donate on the video page, brothers and sisters. Donate whatever you want to donate to help us be liberated. Help us help you, brothers and sisters. This is on the Hidden Truth team. So please, you know what to do. And Popcorn Friday, people saying, Andrew, where's your Popcorn Friday gone? Popcorn Friday and Rice and Peas Sunday will return in September. Popcorn Friday and Rice and Peas Sunday will return in November, along with Lady Adele and a moment of insight. She has got some crazy stuff lined up for us. So let's get back to the England team. We've got to remember, if you're cussing us, just remember.
This is a message to all the racist England fans who are so passionate about the three lions. Lions are from Africa.
Hey, don't forget the lions are from Africa, man. So listen, man, we could destroy this foolishness overnight, King. I want to give a shout out to Sister Adassa, all the way in Bristol, man. Just done some great works with that queen over the weekend. So bless up to Sister Adassa, man. Pure love to you, my queen. So brothers and sisters, let's remember, because we're going to be going into this now, brothers and sisters. We got to remember what has taken place. Let's not forget how they treated our brother Mario Balotelli, sorry. Yeah, he's making a call out to all our black players. Why don't we invest, bring our money together, invest in Africa? Let's build, with all of our money, we can build 5 world-class stadiums in each country. We can then bring and use our own African talent, both here and abroad. And you know what? Let them sing their racist chants to us, because by that time, power respects power. We will become a power that they cannot refute. I'm saying, brothers and sisters, what do you think about his views? Do you think that this is a reality, or do you think that this is really hogwash? I don't know. Please, you talk to me. We need to be doing something. That's what I'm saying. I want us to remember. Brothers and sisters. So, Troy Townsend quickly touched on. I'm just going to do a quick thing before we bring in Troy Townsend and everyone back again. This is Raheem Sterling. Let's not forget, highest goal scorer, yeah, scored in every single game. In fact, over the last 20 England games, He has scored more than Harry Kane. The last 20 England games, this brother. And yet, if we remember at the beginning of the Euros, when they included him in the game, in the team, they said, what the hell is Sterling doing in the team? But the only newspaper that showed him on the front page was The Sun. And Troy Townsend got into trouble because he raised that fact up. But don't forget what the Sun newspaper said. Don't worry, black people. We have got your back. Oh my gosh. When the Sun newspaper says that to us, you know it's time to be afraid. You know it's a time to say, you know what? We need to do something for ourselves, because the Sun newspaper don't have a good history of defending us as a people. Let's not get it twisted. And let's not forget, the Sun newspaper, who's owned by the same people as the Times, hear their headline, Euro 2020, support for Raheem Sterling from both at home and on the violent Jamaican streets that he left at the age of 5. Why would you have to commit, generalize Jamaica as being just one violent place? But don't forget, you were the one that went there, colonized Jamaica, killed the Arawak Indians. You wiped out the original people, the indigenous people. You then went with violence to Africa and violently kidnapped us from Africa, brought us back to Jamaica, made us work in a violent state of slavery for 400 years. And then you got the knack to say to us about the violent streets of Jamaica. Oh, come on, brothers and sisters. Rank, absolutely rank, brothers and sisters. We've got to put things into perspective. And if you don't know your history, you will fall for this. And then they will then divide and rule. God-given talent. Saka, Rashford, and Sterling blaze a trail for what? Black British Christians. No. Don't separate us now. Don't separate us based on religion now. Yeah? Because the same hell you brought on the black Muslims is the same hell you brought on the black Christians, is the same hell you brought on the black Africans, the Pan-Africanists, sorry. It's the same hell you brought on the black Hebrews. You didn't separate us based on our religion. You literally violently abused us based on our color. So don't now start saying black Christians now. We are one. We are one, brothers and sisters. We are one. And don't forget how they treated Meghan. Don't forget how they treated Meghan. Yeah? Look at the newspaper reports, brothers and sisters. It's all tied up in one. Not long ago, this is the Daily Mail. Pregnant Kate tenderly cradles her baby bump while wrapping up her royal duties. Same thing now. Why can't Meghan, when she's holding on to her baby bump, why can't Meghan Markle keep her hands off her bump? Experts tackle the question that has got the nation talking. Same newspaper. Is it pride, vanity, or acting? Look at how they treat. Same action. Same action, brothers and sisters. Then we've got how Kate went from drab to fab, talking about her fashion. But yet, when it came to Meghan, we Brits prefer true royalty to fashion royalty. Same newspaper. Kate Middleton, homegrown bouquet of lily of the valley. Yeah, beautiful. Meghan holds the same flowers. Meghan Markle's flowers may have put Prince Charlotte's life at risk, and so on. And brothers and sisters, I can keep showing you so many different examples. So many different examples, brothers and sisters. So, Sister Eartha Pond, what do you see as, I mean, you've given us so much food already, sister. What do you see as, what should be our next steps as a community, as a people? What do you see as, what do you think the answer should be in our actions?
I think it's definitely got to be something that has some sort of accountability piece connected to it. But as you said, firstly, we need to unite together in order to drive that forward. And for me, and with a lot of the work that I do, I see that coming through the youth. We've got to invest in the youth. We've got to make sure that they don't go through the same things that we've had to endure. I think that's really important, not to let them have, not necessarily the same mistakes, but I think we're at a point now where they don't have to experience those things. I think there's enough of us collectively driving change for them not to have to experience that. And we see the impact of social media and how easy it is for them to access negativity. But I think it's important when we do have the opportunity that we show up. And I think far too often, if we're honest, we don't show up. And I think as a collective, this is our time to demonstrate that we are showing up, and we're not going to let our new generation come through experience the things that we have.
Some real powerful words there, sister. Some real powerful words you're saying there, sister. With Troy. Now, Troy, I know that when England got into the finals, and I'm going to bring you in, Jarita. Don't worry, I'll see you there, sister. I'll be bringing you in. With Troy, we never grew up, well, like I said, I never grew up supporting England. Yeah. As a young boy, there was something inside of me that made me never go around with an England top, supporting England in football and athletics and what have you, okay? I would rather support Brazil. I would rather support the West Indies, even though I was born in England. I would rather support, when it came to athletics, even America, because I just saw the Olympic team and XYZ. Troy, is that old-fashioned thinking, or should we be more, or should I be more with the times? And should I have been more passionately supporting England during the Euros, from your point of view, the work that you're doing?
You're old-fashioned anyway, so there's no way I'm going to go against that. Andrew, we had this conversation the other day, didn't we? And listen, identity is an amazing thing. You either have something to hang on to or you don't. You know, I identified growing up very similar to you. You've taken my lines there. The West Indies were very prominent, the West Indian cricket team. So the flamboyant nature, the Vivian Richards, the Clive Lloyds, the Desmond Hayneses, those are the people that I identified with. Because when I was in the school playground playing cricket, that's who I wanted to be, because they looked like me, they acted like me, they had a swagger in a way that, you know, I'd never seen before. The Brazilian national team, when we were growing up, again, anyone who's old enough, and there are not many of you maybe, but 1982 World Cup, them Brazilians on that day, and, you know, they didn't win, they didn't get through, but the way that they played football resonated with us so much. And Andrew, to the point that we named our football team, our little five-a-side team, the Young Brazilians, because we wanted to do and be everything that they were. In 1982, ain't no black man representing England, you know, so there was no identity for us, nothing for us to hang on to. And remember, we spoke about the Harlem Globetrotters. You know, so they weren't English, but we spoke about the Harlem Globetrotters in the same way, because of, you know, we saw black people excelling. And we never saw that. They were never promoted in that way in our English environment. So when we were growing up, we didn't identify that. So the playground was all about the names of those people, although they weren't, you know, they weren't based in England, but they were what we saw and what we hung on to. This England team, if I can move it fast forward really quickly, because I carry the same feeling as you, I struggle to hang on to this England team. Now, remember, my son represented England for 13 games. Yeah. So I'm sitting in a stand watching my son represent England. To be fair, I'm watching one player out of 11, but my son is playing for England. I didn't stand up for the national anthem. I didn't, but it's, you know, I came from, but like I said to you, my father wasn't an influence in my life, you know, born in Hackney, grew up in Walthamstow, had very little or no money, used to wear the same trainers for weeks on end, for years on end. We had very, very little in our family. I always wanted to be a professional footballer. I'd never achieved my dream because you used to teeth the goals when I was going in on goal, and used to come in and nick the goals and things, but I never achieved my dream.
Go for fun, Troy.
For my son to make it at the highest level and to represent his country, even now, I've got pimples, you know what I mean? There's little pimples on me because, you know, so his era grew up with a different kind of identity. He could visually see black players excelling in the game. He could visibly identify himself, you know, playing at the highest level. And I think it's different for our young people now, where they've got those so many role models, the Raheem Sterlings, the Marcus Rashfords, the Reece James, if you want to go down that route, Tyrone Mings. Our England national squad now is littered with diversity, And what I would want to say is something that Earth has said: let our young people be proud of their identity, proud of what they see, proud of how they believe that they can achieve. Because what Marcus and Raheem are doing, and all the other England players, they're not just creating the next generation of footballers. They're creating the next generation that will take our messages on a lot further, maybe a lot further than what we can. And ultimately, we should be proud for our contribution in that, and ultimately be proud. Now, where that may mean that maybe you would never ever support England in a major tournament. I didn't want England to win. For everything that Rodney said, I didn't want England to win. You know, they can get so far. That was cool with me.
Yeah.
But I think what happened in that final proved that the English have no respect for us. They didn't deserve. I felt for our players, but they didn't deserve to be able to carry that trophy as such, you know, around the nation, while those bigoted views continue. You know, those bigoted views of those players. I've got a text message while we were sitting here, while we're on tonight, and while Rodney was speaking, and this text message is about a story that's going to break tomorrow. How they're trying to belittle Marcus Rashford.
Oh no.
Okay, and we all knew it was going to come. We all knew it was going to come. You cannot be black, excel, take on the government, all that, and kick a football as well, and think that they're not going to come for you.
Yes.
So a story's going to break tomorrow. I'm just trying to see if I've got it. A story's going to break tomorrow, where literally Marcus has had to comment tonight. It's a paper called The Spectator. And if you haven't seen The Spectator, never get it, by the way. Never. It ain't for our people.
Never.
But they're planning to run a story that says that Marcus Rashford has commercially benefited for everything that he's done, all the good that he's done in the last 18 months. They feel that he's commercially benefited from it. And you know what? That is to stop the black man from rising and to try and belittle him so much. So all around the country, there's murals of Marcus Rashford. They've had racial abuse on them, you know?
Yes.
That is to belittle the strength of the power of the black voice. That's what it's designed to do. And if we've got to smarten up to that. So I've seen a comment, right, in the questions. And to be fair, I think the comment is disgraceful, Andrew. It's to me and Rodney. And I think it's disgraceful, to be honest.
Yes.
I've always been true to my blackness. Don't
Yes.
ever question who I am without knowing me and without understanding what I've gone through to get to be on this platform tonight. And I think the question was disrespectful, and I'm willing to take it up with the individual if they want to take it up as a conversation away from it. I ain't even showed Rodney yet. So if I show Rodney, it's all over tonight.
Yes.
But I thought the question was disrespectful, considering the way that we've all spoken and the way that we've all contributed to the betterment of our black brothers and sisters on this platform tonight.
Absolutely, brother.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say that.
Yes.
I'll comment very quickly.
Hold it.
Go on, Andrew. Go on.
Hold it.
Go on.
I'm gonna bring Jurita in.
Yeah. All right. Go on. All right.
Because you know what? As I said, let's deal with fire. Let's deal with fire. Fire's been done. Fire will be burned, brethren. So don't worry about it.
Don't worry. That comment, whatever that is, kind of feeds into something that I want to express anyway. So that's fine. You understand?
If we as a people don't learn to mature, I know.
Right.
I know, brother. I know. But Sister Jurita, I know you've been waiting such a long time. Please.
Man, guys have had me waiting for about an hour.
Yes.
Jeez, the comments of where am I supposed to pick from now? I've got a whole essay. Jeez. But let's start with some positive. Lots of people have mentioned things in the chat about all of you doing some great work.
Great work.
And I just really wanted to put it out there that obviously we need people out there supporting us, and all of you are obviously clearly doing that. So thank you so much. Lots of people are commenting on the work that you do day to day. Essie also put in there, I just want to thank the panel for highlighting the transformation of sporting individuals growing up with greater activism, which so many would have liked to do had they not been pressured to shut up and just perform. So, I think, that says that there is a change happening, and, an expectation really that we can do what we want to do, and we can make a change. It might be a long road still to go, but we can make one. Noir also said, if the new Arab FIFA World Cup can be formed, why not a black African Super League. Imagine the French national team would be empty and England without Rashford, Sterling, Santos, etc. We need to take ourselves out of their disgusting organisations and shake their KKK agendas. Enough with the bull crap. There is no change unless we change. I just thought that that was just, you know, again, something that most people have been saying, but I quite like the way that that was phrased. I like the fact, Andy, that you said, you made the point about Lions not being English. Somebody else put in the chat room that they need to put 3 pigeons on their shirt in future. I thought that was quite funny. And I guess my first question, and I'm not going to address that question just yet, because I think that that's going to sway us very left today. And I'm going to try and perhaps reword it in a way that I'm sure some people have said it a little bit more diplomatically. But the first question that I'm going to put to any of you is, with all the achievements that you have had, do you feel British? You know, Eartha, you mentioned about us needing to be united, but what are we united as? And is sporting excellence the only way that we can be viewed as British in this country? So that's the
good question. That's a good question.
I think I'll kick off just in regards to that. I think it's important that we have some sort of solidarity together, and I think being in solidarity doesn't mean that you have to be in a community. I think that's really important. And there's going to be people who say that they're for the cause, but in reality, there's no action to back that up. And in regards to feeling English or British, I think for me, I kind of got off a little bit lightly. I think in men's football, it's a lot worse. And I think obviously the women's game is a little bit further behind, and maybe I'm counting my blessings. A lot of people say, oh, if you was a boy, you would have been a super professional and playing at the highest level. But yeah, for the women's team, we talk about the diversity. It's the polar opposite to what it is in the men's football. And there was a bit of...
Can you go in that shop and get...
What do you want from the shop, Rodney?
Sorry, sister, I had to mute him. You know, some people just got no manners. The street is just going to stay in them all the day. Carry on, sister. I'm sorry.
In regards to the women's game and just the recent squad announcement that they had, the last one, there wasn't one person of Black heritage in the whole squad. For me, wasn't surprising. The stories going across the media having all this hoo-ha, I know the game has almost gone backwards. And I think the worst thing they could have done, which they did do, was the following day, they called up a person of Black heritage to be joined in the squad. And my mindset is, well, she wasn't good enough yesterday. Now we've had all this backlash. She's in 24 hours, she's now good enough to be in the squad. So yes, I was happy for her, because I'm assuming that, as she said from her sort of interview, she wants to be selected for her country and all that sort of stuff. But for me, there's just that whole lack of respect. And I think with the women's game not being as professional as the men's in an early era when I really started, it meant that I had to have a different pathway as well as playing football. I loved playing football, I was good at football, but I knew that I had to do something else. So my career pathway, which I had alongside football, allowed me to, again, enjoy the game a bit more. And if they didn't want to pick me, then they didn't want to pick me. There was other things that I knew I was great at. I was great at football. And for me, I was able to kind of move and jump into different areas of life. So I think I personally, similar to, and I think it's really shocking that from a different generation, I feel exactly the same as yourself and Troy. I've never supported England. I think every time they kind of play, I tend to support the other team and want them to do a little bit better, just because I know just the arrogance that comes along with it. And similar, I didn't want them to win the Euros, because I knew that, again, from a political point of view, it then gave them an extra bit of power to be able to, I guess, have their own new narrative around that as well. So for me, it's a lot bigger than the game of football. And one thing that really stands out for me is, as I said, I signed for Arsenal at the age of 12. So already I knew I was playing, at that age, I was playing with under 18s, under 23 men. So by the time I transferred into women's football, it was like playing with kids from primary school. It was too easy. So for me, it was kind of like, okay, what is the barrier to me not excelling to that next step? And the only real thing that kind of stands out amongst my peers was my blackness. So it is because I'm black. So I can't be playing at the highest level across that club level and representing all these different teams, but at an international level, I'm not good enough. So yeah, it definitely, it hasn't helped me in regards to my identity. I say I'm black, and I know that comes from obviously coming from Africa. I haven't got the great PDF such as Rodney to see how far back that goes, but yeah, English is definitely not something that I identify from, and I think being English or a nationality is simply just a format of documents. So you get a passport or you get a birth certificate that makes you English or British, and they can take that away at any time, as we've seen with the likes of Shamima Begum. When it doesn't suit them or when there's something that comes up, they can strip that away from you. So yeah, I'm just there for.
Loving your point, sister. Loving your point.
Okay, I'm gonna dive in here, and I can see you've been typing away, Troy. So I could feel and I can see your face change. So listen, I'm an advocate of asking any kind of question, but sometimes I feel like it's not what's said. Sometimes it's how it's said, and so there were a few people who had similar questions in the chat, and one person who I think may have phrased this question a little bit more subtly. And so I'm going to go with that one, but I think this one encompasses the general question that was being asked. So this came from Mel, who said, she asked, how are we supposed to support this movement when all male footballers, bar Sterling, have white women for spouses? They go home to Debs, Steph, and Trace. Can anyone take us seriously when our own males don't seem to want us? And there were a few people in the chat who were saying that Black men seem to have a different preference. Can we talk about that? And a few people have said it's, sometimes it's about action, not just about mouth. And I guess the question that came from First Frequency was about you two in particular, and obviously your choices in your life, etc. But the general question is, there's lots of Black footballers out there right now who are trying to take a stand, but ultimately Ian Wright, John Barnes, Rashford, Saka, all of these men have white women spouses. Can they really say they are for the movement when they don't seem to want us?
Let me just address First Frequency.
If
they are a journalist, if he is a journalist, they are a journalist, whoever it may be. Then, if that's the way they phrase questions, no wonder they don't get responses. Yeah, because it's disrespectful. It generalizes, and I don't really respond to things like that because ultimately, it's got a little bit of a bad mind on it. And when I say bad mind, it's the very reason why I don't understand why Black people attack Black people in the manner that what they do. Listen, let me just say this. You can find love anywhere.
Absolutely.
Okay. And love is the most powerfulest thing over everything for me. Now, people are questioning who I love, who I respect. I respect everybody and anybody that respects me. I don't want to, I can't talk for a John Barnes, and I can't talk for Ian Wright. But my missus is not called Debs or Sharon. Okay. My missus is Greek. Okay. And I've known her since school.
I know
okay.
it.
Yeah, and Andrew knows her and Rodney knows her, like I know both of their spouses as well. So I find it a little disrespectful, because why can't we still fight for a cause? Why can't we still bring up our children to believe that Black is powerful, that white can be powerful, and that the person that they love is not the person that is disrespecting them? I don't understand that mentality. The Black side of my family, to be honest with you, the Black side of my family has no love for me, no love at all for me. And I don't want to get emotional on this platform, but I already told you that my dad, was not part of my upbringing. Yeah. My upbringing was by me, Troy Townsend, not my brother, not my mother, not my father. Okay. And Andrew knows that. So I've had a very, very difficult childhood where I've had to make my choices. I became a very young parent. No, but people are calling me out, Andrew. So I had a difficult childhood that led to me not appreciating parenting until very later on in life. So the word I would just use is, why would we question people's love for whoever it may be? Now, if that person is then going to disrespect a black person as such, or, you know, a person from a different nationality, you know, our African brothers and sisters, because all this seems to be about men. I heard the comment, men. We're generalizing again. And I honestly thought that if we are gonna break down the barriers and break down the myths, that we can be so much better than that, that we can appreciate everybody for who they are, whilst they can still take a stance. You know, I'm not gonna have, you know, I fought to be in my relationship. I fought to bring my children up. I'm not gonna have people that don't know me question that. I'm not gonna have people who don't know my struggles question that. You know, as I wouldn't, and I would show the same respect to others. And I know Rodney's keeping quiet, because if I let him go, it's all over. Because what I've done, and the reason I come on every single time that Andrew asked me to come on, and probably should be more, is my love and respect for what he does. When he brought me in this, he said to me, Troy doesn't do it just for black people. He does it for his community. He does it no matter what your background is. I've been in teaching. You know, if you're a struggling little white girl, you can come to me and I will help you. If you're from the Asian community and you're struggling, I will help you. But obviously I've got a massive allegiance to my own community, because for far too long, their qualities and the opportunities that are provided to them as having doors slammed in their face. I'm 55 years of age, by the way. And it's only recently I've learned to pronounce my voice. 55 years of age. Yeah. And I'm not having my own people who actually should respect me a little bit more try and bring me down for my choices. Sorry, that's my response to that.
This we're family here. And
I did. Andrew, you ain't.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to put me on mute. I'm gonna have to, because I want this to go a certain way. Look, listen. Not because I want it. You see, beloved, if we as a family don't know how to deal with some serious issues, because we've gone through a lot over the last 400 or 500 years. We have gone through a lot over the and we are not going to be skipping through the tulips without dealing with some serious issues. Now, there are two sides to this, obviously, because we have had a history where the slave master for sure has designed it, whereby white has been the standard of beauty. And you've got many of us who have been so-called brainwashed into thinking the lighter you are is the better you are. And that is something we have got to totally break. And at the same time, brothers and sisters, I want you to understand me, at the same time, let me say this to you, love comes in so many different forms. The biggest mistake we can start doing, brothers and sisters, is going down the line of judging and bringing each other down based on their own personal decisions. Because I know I've got decisions in my life you're not going to like. And I know that you've got decisions in your life that I'm not going to like. But if we don't understand, there's going to be a unity in our diversity. I've seen from school days, I'm going to say this to you straight up and down. I've seen from school days what Troy Townsend has done. Some of you have only got come into recognition because of what he's doing to kick it out. I've been witness to Troy Townsend. And I know he's beloved. And I love her. I'm going to say it publicly. I love his wife. We all went to the same school together. And she's no sellout kind of, no. If we can't mature today, brothers and sisters, then we're going to be in the same situation that was designed for us. And what we're doing, without knowing, we perpetrate the Willie Lynch mentality, whereby we divide each other based on light, dark, small, large, west side, east side. Brothers and sisters, we've got to be much more mature. Look at the works of what the people are doing. And I'm telling you straight up and down, there's hardly one person on this platform that has done the works that Troy Townsend has done. Hence why I always bring him on. And Troy, you got to understand this, brother. We've got a lot of issues that we're dealing with in our community. So don't feel down, brother. This is good. This is good that we discuss this because, Troy, you've got the badge. You've done that work, brother. And those of us who know you, we will not double guess you, brother. Yeah? We will not double guess you, brother, because you've done that work. But we do have a situation, Troy, whereby many of our, and I'll say brothers, especially during slavery, were literally whitewashed in their minds to think that to get a white woman means that I've made it now. And they have turned their back on our black sisters. And that's painful on the other side. So there's two sets of pain that we're dealing with here. And
but Andrew, sorry, but the way the question was put across, disrespected my knowledge behind that, as well.
Yes.
You know, so if we, and they are tough questions, but they're the right. By the way, they're the right questions to ask. Okay, but don't prejudge me before you ask the question.
And that's the lesson. That is the lesson, brother. Yeah, it's not wrong to question, because we all question each other. But come on, brothers and sisters, you know, we've got to question with love, and we've got to question with not the prejudging a situation, because that's what we say about the Europeans many a times.
Andrew, I beg you, please, just let Rodney say something very quickly on this topic, if you don't mind, Andrew. I beg you. I beg you.
Okay, I've calmed down a little bit, so I will be as intellectual as possible. First of all, on an intellectual level, I would hope if the person that asked that question had any cause to be in my presence, would be man enough or woman enough to face me and tell me it was them that asked it. First of all, because don't hide behind a message. Do you understand? Or whatever. Secondly, let me explain something to you. I always say this to people: treat me like a man, right? You don't have to treat me as a black man. I want to be treated equally as everybody else. I mean nobody, no harm, no foul, unless you mean it to me, right? I don't care what color you are. I don't care what. Do you think I see a white child fall down in the street and don't run to pick it up? Right? So you want to test my black. Someone wants to ask me about my black. I am a black man. I am a West Indian, and I am proud of being a West Indian black man. I am proud of my principles. But I tell you, my family name is Sheridan, which means, okay, that I have white blood in me. I cannot deny that. Do you understand? I'm here, first of all, as a result of it. My support for my people is not to be judged by my partner. In fact, my partner probably contributes to our blackness and our well-being as much as anybody that you know. In fact, she contributes to mine. And you can see me now. I'm a dread. You understand? And before we start talking about dreads, and I remind people of this: the greatest exponent of the greatest thing that people see that we make, which is reggae music, mixed race. A lot of people forget that Bob Marley is white, half white, and we celebrate that. I don't hear none of you cursing Bob Marley's whiteness. Okay, first and foremost. Okay, as I said, as a black man, as a mixed race black man, which my son insists on being called, because he will not belie his mother's race. He loved his man, white as a Polish person. You would never believe that they were of the same blood. Okay, as a black man, and as an Antigua and an Antiguan, and Antigua visited this country as a football team when my son was 16 years old and was just at Bury.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds, Rodney, because I
don't want to. It was at Bury. Antigua came. They didn't have no international football team. Right, my son had chosen to play for Turkey, international football team. Antigua didn't have no tracksuits or no bags. Which family do you think bought that? You got Emil Heskey, okay, Dexter Blackstock, all big Antiguan footballers playing. Okay, my son, My mixed race, half white son did that for his black people. That's my blackness. Andy Roberts, who you mentioned, and Viv Richards, my family. Andy Roberts and my mum, first cousins. Okay, so all of you celebrate me and my family. All of you. Don't question us. Okay, we're giving back constantly, constantly, more than you know.
Always. And I know that, King. I know
more than you know. Troy's mixed race son, has he only brought joy to white people? Or does he, when he's busting, that thing. And as for the newspapers, Andrew, we have to stop waiting for them to celebrate us. They're not going to celebrate us. People like you, we have platforms where we can continuously inform people, make our own news station, make our own TV programs, put it out there. We're asking the white people to teach us to stop hating us, to let us be better than them. That's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
My 30 seconds done. But like I said, whoever asks that question, just be man or woman enough to, when you meet me, ask me with the same energy. I'm a black man for the best part of it and the worst part of it, but I promise you, it will just be intellectual. And if you want to go black for black and see who's contributing more to our people, let's do that. Anyone in here who you ask that question and you can't have contributed more to your people than Troy Townsend, because you ain't getting no letters from court people telling you to stop defending your people. So don't bring that on here, man. That's disrespectful to you, Andrew. It's not a good question. It's not a good question.
No worries, King.
It's a question that they're seeing people on. Is that the question you see when you see my son with his fist in the air? Is that what that brings to your mind?
Absolutely,
ridiculous,
brother.
Ridiculous, man. Don't allow people to quantify foolishness. If a white person asks us that question, we'll be cursing.
Absolutely. As I'm saying, beloved, this is all a part of the healing.
No, you know me. Yeah, no. No, I'm glad.
Don't worry, Rodney, don't worry. No need to say, you've made that point.
No. Like Troy, I'm glad it was asked.
Yes, exactly.
I'm glad it was asked. I am, honestly.
It's all good.
I'm glad it was asked, because you know what? That's so unintelligent.
Don't worry. Sister, Dr. Sandra, please.
Wow. Give thanks.
Give thanks.
Give thanks. We give thanks. You know, the question and the response comes from a deep place.
Absolutely.
We must have these conversations. I think what is being said is that it must be done in the spirit of respect.
Absolutely.
It is an elephant in the room, and it is a conversation that happens. I respect these brothers who have come very fiercely at the issue. And their response is coming from a deep place. And they are defending their right to make a choice, and they are defending their family. Likewise, our community has been through trauma. We go through trauma still. And when you go through this, you're not necessarily going to be intellectual. You're going to ask the difficult question. And platforms such as this need to have this dealt with in the way you're dealing with it, brother. And we need to hear what the pain is from either side.
Absolutely.
Because the response is, who gives you the right? I think someone said, do you want to test my black? I mean, that's a powerful thing to say. How do you measure black? And how do you claim blackness? And how do you claim your own? What I've heard is not just about words, and I think I keep calling Troy's name, but controlling the narrative is something we really do need to do. We need to confront these issues that are affecting how we see ourselves, how we love ourselves, how embraced we feel, how rejected we feel, because the brothers feel away and the sisters feel away. You know what I mean? And where are we going to have that conversation if it's not in a place like this? We have to have the conversation. And the conversation doesn't not need to be over cucumber sandwiches. The conversation needs to be over, you know, yam and banana, bun and cheese, with rum and coke. It needs to be had in the rum shop, and it needs to be had in the pulpit. We need to have it in the school. We need to have it in the community hall. We need to have it, because otherwise we won't understand what has happened to us. A lot has happened to us. And we are looking for love. We are looking for comfort. We just lost Menelik Shabazz. He created a film called Burning an Illusion and Lovers Rock. And part of those conversations was about where we're going to find the love in a hostile space, where everywhere you go, people are calling you and people are doing this, people are doing that. And so we're all vulnerable. Every one of us is vulnerable.
Every single one of us.
Looking for love. And many of us have been disappointed by people who do look like us and people who don't look like us. Some of us are the same gender as the one we have decided or find ourselves comforted by. You know, there's so much conversation. And one of the things I think that we need to do is to recognize that we have a deep wound, and the wound is dirty. The wound has pus. The wound needs to be looked at and given attention to so we can heal. And we need to cultivate things like empathy. We need to explain why we want to understand what it is that you are doing and understand why you're coming back at us with so much heat. Because we may never have asked the question before. And we may never have heard a Black man say, listen, don't question me. You know what I mean? And where you come from, but yeah, question me. You hide behind. Why don't you just come up to me and ask me? You know what I mean? Like really standing in the manhood and saying, no, I can't stand up here as a man and make you do that. The other thing is, we can't walk and hide. Some of us have done things we don't do now. You know what I mean? We've been on a journey. So our past may have things in it that we do not do now, but we walk and hide. We don't want nobody to find out, say we used to do this or we used to do that. What we need to be doing as African people is saying, you know what? We have to amplify the love. We are in trouble and we are in a hostile environment. We send our children to school, they're excluded or abused. We send them to the doctor, they are pathologized. We send them to work, they are exploited. We send them on the street, they are arrested. Where is it that's safe? In the conversation I heard earlier on, you know, when you get sent to the shop to buy something and your mother tell you, say, or your grandmother tell you, say, run, go to the shop, right? And on a run, go to the shop. Now you run, go to the shop because you have to come back quick. Otherwise you have to answer to your parents, but you also run, go to the shop because you know the danger. And as you were explaining that, you were laughing, but it's not funny. It's not funny that we have to run, go to the shop, or we have to wear hoodies so we don't want to be seen. We want to dampen our light. That we are joking about the breathlessness. Imagine we're joking about breathlessness. And one of our brothers is saying, it's worse than it ever was. In fact, it's horrific. When somebody tells you that something is horrific, they could be laughing. It doesn't matter that they're laughing, but what they're saying is from their core. We have been terrorized. We are terrorized still. When our children go out and they are successful, we breathe for about 3 nights. And then we have to go back into a thing where we're just like, we have to bring down the shutters and watch how everything and move and just be on tenterhooks. We shouldn't have to live like that, especially after we've given so much to make a place brutish, great brutish. You know, it is preposterous. We need to have these conversations. We need to be about the healing. We need to be about the solutions. And as ones are doing their work in different places, there are ones who need to be there to catch people when they are fall, or when they feel a bit shaky, or when they start to vomit up all over the place, or they feel like they're losing their mind. There needs to be people who will be there to catch them, who are culturally sensitive, who understand that this is not a judgment, This is part of a process for us to heal. And so it may be that we do this. This is part of people's therapy.
The part of the healing in my eyes, beloved.
This is why people run to the space. You know what I mean? Other things are going on, and they say, no, I have to be there because I get a better understanding, not only of others, but I get a better understanding of myself. Oh, I understand what happened to my parents. I never knew that they went through what they went through. I never knew that they came to the motherland thinking that they were helping. And then when you hear the shout, them change the rules and they became immigrants and they were trying to protect us. And so now we think that we are the ones we were waiting for. We are the ones we are waiting for. But do not believe for a minute that the ones that went before did not take some blows. They took some blows to protect us so that in their judgment, we wouldn't be restrained by the knowledge of exactly how wicked this place is. You asked for homework, and there's a couple of things I would want to say.
Please.
One is that we need to make a commitment to our own healing. Nobody's coming to save us. No, there isn't somebody going to show up and say, hello, everybody, I've come to save you. We need to know thyself. This was what was left to us by the ancients. It's not very difficult. So one of the things that we could do, simple, or it may be challenging, is to invest in a journal and write down what happened to you. Write down what happened to you, because not everybody can afford a counselor, or not everybody can trust a counselor. Or when you find a counselor, the counselor looks like the very symbol of the thing that's oppressing you. And then you have to explain everything before you get to the heart of the matter. So write down what happened to you in a journal, not the little 50p, 20p journal. Invest in something substantial that you will treasure and write down what happened to you, because many of us don't even know what happened to our parents. We don't know what happened to them.
Yes.
Right? The other thing is, give money to yourself. Give the value, the energy to yourself. That's what's happening tonight. We are investing in ourselves. A call was made earlier on because of a container that's going to help our brothers on the continent. And we gave to ourselves.
Absolutely.
When we are here, we are giving to ourselves. Many of us have other things. Many of us live somewhere, we have other things to do, but we're here. We're here taking the heat. We're here committing to the development of us as a people. We need to remember that English is not our first language. English is not our first language. The pain that we feel, we cannot express it using English. And a number of the people who are here in the gathering, I want to acknowledge them. I've seen some notes coming, I've been reading them, but I can't write them. So I want to acknowledge your audience. I want to acknowledge your panel, and I want to acknowledge your team and you, because this is the work that needs to be done. A lot has happened to us. And if we rely on the Sun and the This and the Sky News and that as the media program, we will never, ever get to the heart of the matter. We will never get to hear the truth of the matter and what our family are going through. We will never get to hear it. So we need these platforms, and we need to give our money to ourselves. And so at least for the next week, I would suggest that when you're giving energy, give the energy to yourself. Amplify the love. If you are thinking you want to buy something and the person you want to buy it from is disrespecting you in any form or fashion, I know you referred to caste system, any form or fashion, all onto your money. You have a choice about where you put your energy. Make the choice wisely and amplify the love to yourself. We are talking core to core. We are not talking, so here it is, I dress like this. Counselor dresses like that. Troy dresses like, we need to just recognize that beyond the outer, there is an inner, and the inner is hurt. We have been traumatized year after year. And the final thing, and maybe hard for people to do, I would be really interested to hear from people whether they see a similarity between what used to happen to us centuries ago during a period of enslavement and what is happening to us now. What is the difference? Are there different words, or are we being treated better?
And you see, sister, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful because you know what? Your words come at the right time with the right spirit and the right love. And I'm going to say this, beloved, all of this, what we see, what we discussed today is, to me, I said, part of the healing, part of the beauty. I don't want us, though, two things. Let's not forget the homework given to us by our queen, Sister Dr. Sandra. So much wisdom. So much wisdom. We've got to invest more in that self-love. But two, and I will add on this, and I really do feel passionate about this, let's not be so judgmental on each other. It's so important. I could never have made it in terms of just the length of being in the community, in the conscious community, because I see so many of us already judging each other. And I know if you clean your heart from judging other people, unless you be judged, then you just walk on and do the best that you can do. And I really feel passionate about that, that the judging is something that really does pull our people back, man. Just look at the works that people are doing, applaud them if you agree. If you disagree, you go and do better. Vie with each other in the doing of good. To me, that's always that foundation, yeah? To me, I ain't got no time to judge people based on what they're doing. I'm not looking for you to validate me, and you shouldn't be looking for me to validate you. But if you're doing the works, I've got to stand back and clap, man, because I'm seeing the works that you're doing. So much respect to every single one of us. This here, to me, beautiful. This here has to be taking place. And it goes back to me, just going back to the main topic of our conversation today about sports, racism, media, and politics. To me, it's no mistake. There's no accident in nature that England, not only did they lose the final of the Euros, but the way it was lost, to me, was designed by the Most High. It was designed by the universe. Yeah, no one could even expect our three brothers to be taking the last penalties in that manner after the fury of what has taken place over the last few weeks. To me, that's design. And it's not what happens to us, it's how we respond to what happens to us. And to me, that is so fundamental. And I say this to my children all the time. Many crap may happen to you in your life, but it's not what happens to you. What's your response? How do you respond to what's happened to you? That will be the difference between your life, your death, your success, your failure, your happiness, or your sadness. You dictate your life. You're the movie maker. You are the director of your life.
I
Don't
must
let
say,
anyone take your power away from you.
Brother King, what has happened though, which is a constant theme throughout the discussion this evening, is that people have spoken about having a mentor or having a role model or having a coach or having somebody. There was somebody, your brother, I had an uncle, yes, I was a hothead, but that person watched over me. If you can establish that network to support you on your journey, you will get there safely. You need a network. And even if this is the network where people are coming back to hear this over and over again till they feel stronger, because you're not where you were. You have grown. We've all been on a journey.
Ooh.
So every one of us on this platform have not finished our journey. If we had finished our journey, we would have transitioned already. So there'll be some on this platform for whom tonight was a lesson. They learned a lot.
Absolutely, beloved.
They learned a lot. So let us remember, we weren't born big, so. We were not born big, so I didn't come to this stage of my life without making some kind of okay, that was an error. Oh, I need to go to my mentor. I need to go to my, you know what I mean? You need someone. I have a sister Sharon X is part of that.
Absolutely.
A space where you can check in on yourself safely. safely. So I salute everybody. Taking care of our mental well-being, our spiritual well-being, our emotional well-being, our physical well-being. You know, we work in toxic spaces. We need to build up our core.
Can I just say, sister, because we've gone over time slightly, well, not over time slightly, we have gone way over time. I know, but to me, this is so important. This is a part of that healing that we talked about. And I think myself and Sister Sandra, we're going to be putting something together. We spoke about Sister Sandra on a course of healing, of self-healing for us. But I must say this because, you know, and I am going to make it personal to Troy Townsend. I'm going to have to make it very personal to Troy Townsend. And it goes back to what you said already, Sister Sandra. We as a people, we make trauma fashion. We're the most traumatized people on planet Earth. But if you look at us, we look the most happiest. We look the most stylish. We make it look easy. Even in the denseness of our trauma, we've gone through trauma that no one has been through. And I will say, you know, with Troy Townsend, and I have to make it personal, beloved. Growing up with Troy, from school days right the way through, I would never have known that brother was going through any hardship at home or anything. He was always the person that was the main boy in school, captain of the football team, doing this, doing that, doing this. But it just shows us, brothers and sisters, that we can't be judging each other. We don't know what everyone is going through on a personal level. We just don't know. Because the things that we're going through, that we may be smiling, we may be happy looking, the brother is taking on forces that I'm not even taking on. You know, when Brother Troy's on TV talking about racism and talking about justice, okay, he's talking to some of the most wickedest entities on earth. And I want to make sure that this brother knows that we've got him. We love him. We don't ignore him. We thank him. I've got to say that, beloved, else I'll be doing a disservice. This is the brother that I support. And, you know, as you know, and I know that, you know, in our own community, sometimes we could be our own worst enemies. I'm saying that to you. But it's just to understand. That's all it is. It's to understand that the people that may be hurting you, they are hurt themselves. Yeah, hurt people. So don't take it personal. You know, all of us have got that hurt, and all of us must learn to literally come together, put away the judgmental side. It's not easy. And just applaud each other in the doing of the works that we're doing. We are all going to be tested in one way or another. Some of us are going to pass the test. Some of us are going to fail the test. But you know what? We are still alive today. We still woke up today with another chance to do that work that we know we should be doing. Brothers and sisters, wow. We've still got over 300 to 400 people. We got no more. We got no more time for any more questions.
I just wanted to say thank you to Troy and to Rodney for answering that question.
It's a sensitive question.
Obviously saw the question, how it came. There's been a few comments on there saying I should have sieved it out. And to be honest, I did. I didn't give it how it was written. But I thank you anyway for answering that question and taking the time really to explain something that you didn't really have to.
You didn't have to. To me, didn't have to answer it. That's to me personally.
I appreciate you doing that, and I appreciate you doing it so diplomatically. I did try and shield it from you, but you had your eye in the question bank, so I couldn't hide it from you too much. But thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you for that, Sister Jurita. Thank you. So I am going to give the panelists a few 30 seconds each, just to give us whatever you want to say, whatever on your heart for the marching orders for our community, because you know what, they don't ever get a chance to see you in our own community the way that we're doing it today. Normally it is on Sky Sports, normally it is on GMB TV and whatever UK, where they control the narrative. We on this platform, we control our own narrative, man, and you've fed us. All of you have fed us so well. I'm going to leave Sister Dr. Sandra to last, okay? I like just to re-emphasize the healing side, so whatever she's has on her heart. So I will start with
Andrew,
Brother
let me
Rod.
go because I've got to jump off. Sorry, so I'll go very quickly.
Yes.
First and foremost, appreciate every single person that put comments in the comment box tonight and also spoke in the power and depth that they have. I'll leave you with this. Our journeys are paved with the most rockiest of roads. You know, anyone that's driven on the public highways will know that nothing's ever paved with gold. I want us as a community to believe in each other and believe in our power and believe in our strength to affect change. The only way we can do that is together. The only way that we can do that is, yes, you know, the most difficult of questions can get asked, but let's do it without judgment. Let's do it without creating a space where absolutely people are watching us and actually laughing at us, laughing at that whole narrative. So let's enjoy each other for what we bring. I celebrate everybody, whether I know you or not, because the fact that you've spent, I don't know, nearly 4 hours on this platform tonight means that you've spent that 4 hours for a reason. And hopefully we've given you everything in regards to our questions. But let me tell you now, the fight, the battle, we can only do it together, because the people that are in positions of power, they're never going to do it for us.
Never.
And the only way we can do that is being collective as a community and being strong. Yes, we can ask ourselves questions, but do you know what? Let's support each other. You know, and I will say this, and Andrew's right, you know, maybe I don't support community enough in the way that I maybe could do, but we've all got a path. And my path takes me into certain environments that I'm not quite sure many could survive, to be totally honest.
Telling you.
And I'm doing it because I believe in us as a community, and I believe is us as a force that maybe not in my time, but later on, we will have the positions of influence and power that we deserve. And as long as we get that, then wherever I am at that period of time, my job will have been done. So I appreciate you all tonight, and I appreciate the comments, and I appreciate the love that you've shown and the negativity. It's all there for a reason. So thank you from me. Really appreciate it.
No, true. We love you, big brother. And as I say, you're always invited onto the show. Keep up the great works, my king. Bless up to you. Rodney, 30 seconds, king. If you, I don't know if you can unmute.
On Friday, I'm actually going to be at Pride Park, which is Derby County's ground, the ground that my son plays at every other week, because he was racial abused after scoring a goal against Nottingham Forest. The police, safeguarding everybody, dealing with it. Possibly Troy's going to be there to help me. We're messing around at times. We give and we give and we give. I'm not here to. I never came on here to.
Don't defend yourself, brother. Just...
No. That's what I said. No. So you know, we're here trying to help and trying to. This is a journey. This is a journey, and everybody's journey is going to have pits and troughs. And we've come on here to teach. I ain't better than one person in this world. Not one. Do you understand? I don't see myself as that. Do you understand? I want to be equal to all men, and I probably, in hindsight, you know, I would like to further discuss it. What my question is, my thing was, and probably my agitation was, you're asking that question. Do you really think I have the space and time to really answer? And do you really want to listen to the answer? Are you going to allow the answer to educate you? Because if you're not, then you're just as bad as our oppressor. And I'll leave it there.
All right, Rodney, brothers and sisters, brother Rodney Richards, bad man in the community, doing great works in our community and working with the youth. Brought him into schools with me. That brother's a bad man. We thank you, brother Rodney. Bless up.
Bless, man. Bless.
Every time. Sister Eartha, please, sister, you absolutely ripped the show tonight, my queen.
Yeah, for me, it's a quite a simple, quick one. You know, everything that I do is kind of driven by young people and the youth and the next generation, and really just three things. We know how important language is, so I really want us to make sure that we never kind of let young people think that they're disadvantaged, no matter what background they come from. And as you said, Brother Andrew, in the opening, it's all about they're underestimated young people. Because if we say they're disadvantaged, then they're going to believe that they're disadvantaged. So what I want to say is they're underestimated, not disadvantaged. Second thing, as I said before, is about that showing up. And one of the key mottos that I have is don't tell me, show me. You can say all the things you want to say, but when you put the actions to it and I can see it tangibly, then that's a lot more powerful than any statement, any report, anything that you want to prove your point with. You turn up, you show up, because quite often we don't show up. And then lastly, just 3 things that I live by. We can, we must, and we will make a difference.
What, sister? Is there any way that people can get in contact with you, sister? Because I know from today's show, sister, you've been a major inspiration to us, sister. Well, how can we help you more? And how can we get in touch? And if you want to find out more about what you do, how can we do that, sis?
Yeah, so my website is www.espfoundation.co.uk. On all platforms, it's at ESP-FDN, so ESP Foundation short. And yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. And that's why maybe I'm not out too much doing a lot of things, because I'm in the background working. And one of the key things that I've heard time and time again is we need our own things. And one of those things is a school. So in the background, we're working on bringing that into reality, and making sure actually we're educating our young people in not the same old curriculum that we've had for 500 years, and everyone going through the same old meal with expecting different outcomes. So that's something that I'm super passionate about, and having a bit more of a diverse curriculum, and again, just celebrating our young people and demonstrating our levels of excellence when we were given that example to do so. And we look at something as simple as the examination system. We teach them every day and we differentiate and we say, do this different in a classroom, but then we all sit exactly the same linear exam. So why are we differentiating every day in teaching? So it's about ensuring that we are including everyone, and we're nurturing through that education system, which is not just in the school, but the home and the community. And thank you again for having me on.
No, sister, I thank you. And I'm going to tell you now, sister, publicly in front of all these people, that inshallah, God willing, I want you back on this show again and again and again. I just love your foresight, sister, and I love your operations. Several people, as you were talking, sister, said, could you repeat your website again?
Yep, it's www.espfoundation.co.uk.
Fantastic. I hope that everyone's got that, brothers and sisters. I'm going to leave Sister Angie to last, give us hopefully some good news in terms of how much we collected. Sister Sandra, please, what's on your heart just to end us off with now, sister?
I would say that what has happened tonight has been one of the more powerful engagements with a large number of people. So the healing work is often done one-to-one or in small groups, but to be able to have so many people who are interested in our well-being come together like this has to be saluted. So I want to congratulate you and your team. I want to congratulate all of the attendees, because that is a commitment too. It doesn't matter that we don't know everyone's name. That is a commitment too. Bada spoke about, what did he say? Link all the mans up and link all the ends up.
You don't miss a thing, sister. You just don't miss a thing.
You know, the work is happening. You know what I mean? There are people out there, there are warriors out there doing frontline, high-class, grassroots work. We have started healing ourselves. We recognize that something has happened and we have begun healing ourselves. And that means we have to sometimes have a difficult conversation. So I acknowledge everyone, I give thanks. And just to say that we must amplify the love for each other. We don't know everyone's journey. We know our personal journey, but let's amplify the love. Give thanks.
Beautiful. What a way. Amplify the love, brothers and sisters. That's not no soft little teaching. That is revolutionary teaching. That is militant teaching, if you understand which the depth that sister goes into, beloved. Amplify the love for each other, man. and it starts with us. Powerful. Sister Angie, you started us off today on a vibe. Please, sister, how did you feel yourself today?
Greetings, family, and our village today has been on fire. And I'm so grateful to all of you. And I just want to announce that when I last checked, in the account, we received £83. Currently, on the Just Giving page, we have a total of £1,156. I'm so grateful. Thank you, village. Thank you. And Brother Andrew, I have to say, your father's spirit has been with us this evening.
Oh, praise the due to
And may his transition be peaceful, and may his spirit rise in power, and he lives on in you and the rest of your siblings. So I'm just going to say Black Power, rise up to the panelists, the guests, the village, the community. We are Blacknificent. You better believe it.
Fantastic. One love, Black Power, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much, Angie. I'm so happy to see that smile on your face. Please let us know how everything goes with the various stages. Sister Jarita, was there anything that you'd like to say, beloved? Because you kicked off the fire today, Lord gosh.
I told you it was going to come.
Kicked off the fire today, sister.
I knew it was going to come. I said it explicitly. I tried to give people.
Has to be done, sister. You know what? Has to be done. And you know, brothers and sisters, this has been a great night. We've gone way over time. We've never been this late before, but you know.